Hey. Yeah. Hey, hey, hey. It starts with a question, a better way. Something worth building, something worth changing. A spark becomes motion, a few become more. You take what you believe in and open the door. One step, one voice, one reason to begin. When purpose finds momentum, that's when possibility kicks in. We're built for more than a moment, more than before. Built with a reason, built to endure. We grow what matters, we open the door. Built on purpose, we're built for more. Oh yeah, turn waste into value, turn barriers around, put power in places where hope can be found. Bring capital closer, bring new voices through, make room at the table for something new. One dream, one chance, then somebody believes. And when we build together, there's more that we can achieve. We're built for more than a moment, more than before. Built with a reason, built to endure. We grow what matters, we open the door. Built on purpose, we're built for more. We're built for more. We're built for more. More ways forward, more hands raised, more good growing, more lives changed, more doors opening, more voices heard, more ideas becoming more than just words. And success can mean what we choose it for. When what we build is built for more. More than a moment, more than before. Built with a reason, built to endure. We grow what matters, we open the door. Built on purpose, we're built for more. Built for more. Built for more. What we build can matter. What we grow can endure. Built on purpose. Built for more.
Raising capital, it's not just marketing.
It's securities law.
Most deals, they don't fail because of the returns that are offered.
They fail because of compliance mistakes.
And that's what we do
Every day, we help entrepreneurs raise money the right way.
before problems ever start. If you're raising capital,
Talk to crowdfunding lawyers first.
Quit, lend me your ear. I can make your memories disappear. Let me turn enemies into dearly beloved round trip when you barely recover. Game changer.
Digital Niche Agency is the top investor acquisition agency. DNA has helped founders raise over 9 figures via regulated investment crowdfunding with a 3-pronged strategy using digital advertising, content marketing, and strategic outreach. Book a call today.
The CFPA advocates and advances the regulated investment crowdfunding industry. This October, join founders, investors, platforms, and policymakers in Washington, D.C. for the Regulated Investment Crowdfunding Summit. Register now at ricsummit.org.
Behind today's biggest crowdfunding raises.
The leading CPA firm for Reg CF, Reg A, and Reg D compliance.
Trusted.
Experienced.
Set apart.
Eureka! How can I save money on a patent? That's it. Menlo Park Patents.
"50 shareholders can quickly become 5,000. One raise can get you there. An equity stock transfer is built for that scale. Learn more at equitystock.com.
Hello, everybody. It is so fun to be here. Today is the big day. You know, we started working on Purpose Built 100 almost a year ago. Last fall, we said, wouldn't it be interesting if someone ranked the purpose-built, mission-driven, impact-focused companies in America by their revenue to demonstrate to the world that impact can scale. After a year of planning, today is the day. We are going to rank the Purpose Built 100 from 100 to 1. We'll also announce 3 separate top 10 lists. First, this morning, we will rank the big impact players from number 10 to number 1. Our overall ranking screens for impact. You have to have some sort of impact in order to be eligible for the Purpose Built 100. After that, we rank by revenue growth, comparing 2025 revenue to 2021 revenue. We calculate a simple percentage growth. Since it's the same, it would work out the same if we were calculating a fancy CAGR. But we just look at the simple, multiple of 2025 revenue to 2021 revenue. And we rank all the companies on the list by that measure. And we screened thousands of companies. Thousands. Literally. Thankfully, we live in a day and age when that's possible, right? The tools are available to us. We invited thousands of private companies to apply. So we had a big universe. So when we say these are the fastest growing, purpose-driven businesses in America, we mean it. We mean it. We looked high and low. But the ranking, when you do the math the way we do it, we admit that tends to favor the businesses that are startups, that are just getting going. That said, there are founder-driven, mature companies that we think also should be included in that ranking, and we should recognize their scale. So we will do early today our big impact players. We will announce the big impact players this morning
These are the companies that we recalculated their rank. They had to be on the Purpose Built 100. To get on the big impact player list, it's not a separate list. It's the re-ranking of the core list by arithmetic growth. That is 2025 revenue minus 2021 revenue. So these are the companies that grew the most millions of dollars, not the most percentage. So you can imagine on the percentage calculation, a business that had a few $100,000 and grew to a few $1 million has very dramatic percentage growth. A company that has gone from 1.5 billion to 1.8 billion has added a lot of revenue, but a lower percentage. So we did the ranking both ways to celebrate both groups, but you have to qualify for the list based on the percentage revenue growth. So we are going to make those announcements today. Then later today, we will rank the top 10 women founder CEOs. So these are companies that are led by a woman who helped found the business and is still in charge. And remarkably, I was impressed when we finally did the analysis. We found that there are 24 powerhouse women who helped found the company and are still running the company today. So we will do that ranking this morning. Then later this afternoon, we will do a ranking of the top 10 fastest growing environmental solutions. You know, the environment has a soft spot in my heart. I love all impact. My portfolio of investments in impact investments is very diverse across a whole wide range, but I do include, a little bit extra capital, I confess, on the environmental side. We're going to celebrate the top 10 environmental solutions on the list today. And then throughout the day, we'll be doing the top 100 purpose-built ranking in pieces, and we will finish that during our final hour today between 8 and 9 p.m. Eastern Time, prime time. This is when you want to be sitting on the sofa, watching with your bowl of popcorn. On the West Coast, that'll be between 5 and 6 p.m. But this is going to be a really fun session. I really, truly believe we're going to enjoy this. So we've got a full day. It's going to be a big deal. I want to take a few minutes now. I have the opportunity, they gave me a microphone. I want to introduce you to our business. I recognize that there are many people that are watching today that have never really gotten to know the SuperCrowd. And so you don't know what we're about. Some new people associate us only with the Purpose Built 100. That's the only thing they know us for. There is so much more. And I want you to feel a little bit not left out, because here's the reality. Over the last 6 months, we have radically expanded our activities, our services, our scope, our ecosystem, we now call it. Our ecosystem is more complete than it has ever been. So I want to encourage you to visit with me. I'm going to walk you through all the things that we do at the SuperCrowd so that you feel like, oh my gosh, I got to be a part of that, because we want you to be a part of that. There is an option to join. You can become a member of the SuperCrowd for free. Just subscribe, and it's easy to do that. Right here on our homepage, just scroll down to the bottom. type in your email address, and shazam, for free, you are a member of the SuperCrowd. Let me walk you through some of the things that we're doing. I'm not going to spend any time talking about our events. Why? Why am I not going to talk about our events? You know, the fact is you're at an event right now. So I'm not going to take the time to explain our events, but we do events like this throughout the year. Let me introduce you to SuperCrowd TV. Some of you may be watching this speech on SuperCrowd TV, but I suspect most of you are watching this somewhere else. But you can watch on your Amazon Fire TV device or on your Roku, or you can watch right here in your browser. It's a little bit meta right now, right? But if I click on this button right over here on the left-hand side, this is us, right? I can pull up the show right now, right on the web. So SuperCrowd TV is our proprietary television channel. And it's not just us. We have regular webinars from the Crowdfunding Professional Association. We stream their monthly webinars and have their archive for this year on the channel. We also have Carl Dakin, and we're adding Jason Fishman's Test, Optimize, and Scale podcast, and his webinars will be coming online in the coming weeks. And we're looking for more good content. So this is a place where if you are an entrepreneur, especially a social entrepreneur looking to raise capital, do more good in the world, this is the content for you. We invite you to check it out. We also have a newsroom set up where we have a feed coming in now of all of the crowdfunding related news in the industry. And so, for instance, here's a press release that was issued yesterday from the Crowdfunding Professional Association about regulation crypto assets and the fact that the CFPA was mentioned in that commentary from the SEC 10 times. 10 times. And it just highlights the relevance of that organization. But so you can check out our newsroom. Absolutely free for everyone. If you are interested in our archive of speakers, over the years we've had hundreds of speakers on our program, and so you can come pop into our speakers panel and meet our speakers like Del Afonso, who won the live pitch last night. He pitched at the SuperCrowd26 live pitch and was one of the winners. So you can meet our speakers right there online, our big archive, and it's a lot. You know, I confess that a lot of folks don't know my background, and so it's not obvious to everyone that I have a deep corporate finance background. I ran an investment banking firm that I started, ran my own investment banking firm. This was a FINRA member, SEC regulated broker-dealer investment banking firm. We were legit, and we did hundreds of millions in transactions in those years. I'm available for coaching, and I'm happy to help you. Our impact members, those who pay for their membership, and we have two tiers, $55 a year and $155 a year. They get discounts on coaching sessions. And I don't do a lot of consulting, but if you are thinking about raising capital from the crowd, a little coaching session could really go a long way to help you prepare for a successful launch. Part of what we would do is guide you toward other people who can help and provide deeper resources throughout the campaign. We're not that, but I don't think anybody can provide you a better foundation for getting ready for a launch than we can. Impact Wire. This is another new service that we just launched. Our Impact Wire that we launched earlier this year in partnership with our friends at Core Wire. We can help you get a press release out to the marketplace, and great distribution. And our Impact members get $50 off these prices. These prices are very reasonable, but the Impact members get $50 off, so you want to take advantage of that. If you're an Impact member, I encourage you to sign up for $55 a year. Career Path. This is our newest offering. We just finished the launch of our Career Path. This is brand new. You can today post a job, and that's a fun thing to do. If you are looking for someone and you are in the crowdfunding ecosphere at all, this is the place to do it, because our community of 10,000 subscribers or 10,000 members, if 3% are unemployed, that means we've got 300 people in our community right now looking for a job. So if you could post a job for free, seems like that'd be a good idea. But you can not only do that, but you can come here, check a salary. What should you be paying someone? You can. We've got a tool for writing a job description, and the interesting thing about our tool for job description writing is it's all software and a deep database, no AI. And you say, well, why does that matter? Increasingly, some governments are regulating the use of AI in hiring paths. And so it has to, at a minimum, in some places, be disclosed. No disclosure required. You can come here, build a job description. It's from a rich database from the Department of Labor of job descriptions, but no AI is involved in that stack. So that's kind of a cool thing. We talked about posting a job. As soon as we have jobs, you can find a job here, but we will, just so you're clear, this isn't going to operate in a vacuum. If you post a job here, it's going to go out in our daily newsletter. So it's not like you're posting a job into a vacuum. You're posting a job into the heart of the SuperCrowd community. You can also come use our tool to check and see, am I being paid fairly? How do I negotiate a raise, right? You can check, what should I be earning in my location with my job title, right? So great. There are really some cool resources that we've built there. Encourage you to check it out. All of that is completely free through the end of the year. We will charge modestly for posting a job after the beginning of the year, but our Impact members will have some free access for posting jobs. So again, another reason to become an Impact member. Networking. Many people have some access to our networking resources without even being a member. If you are a speaker or a sponsor, you have access. Come to our networking page, put in your email, the email we know you by, and you will instantly send you the login link, and you can participate. But we've got all kinds of networking things going on, primarily an online room that works a lot like think of it as a Facebook group or a LinkedIn group. So we have rooms depending on which groups you belong to. And we just set up today, free of charge for our PurposeBuilt100 winners. We announced to them that there is a winners only room, for instance. So any of our PurposeBuilt100 winners who want to check out that room have the option to do so. And our next speaker is one of our PurposeBuilt100 winners, Danny Walsh, will be on stage here in a few minutes. So stand by for that. It's going to be great. I'm not going to talk about the PurposeBuilt100 today because we're talking about that all day long. Opportunities. every week, my colleague Chandon puts together a list of all of the new offerings under Reg CF. Every single new offering gets on this list. And he categorizes these into several groups. So first he'll look for a list of those that have social impact. Sometimes there are 10 new offerings that have social impact. This week it was just 3. Then he does a list of all of the women founders or women-led companies. So these are companies that have a woman in the C-suite or founders team, and then so they get on this list here. Then we have a list of those that are underrepresented founders. We want to make sure we're highlighting that. I always encourage our community to think seriously about investing in people that, frankly, don't look like me. And I think it's an important principle to look for those opportunities, not just take advantage of them when they land on your desk. And then finally, our fourth category is the other offerings that come up each week. So every single week, our subscribers get all of our members, including our free members, get this list of the new offerings that are out each week. So that comes right into your inbox. So if you are interested in investing, this is a great place to start. Our Impact League, this is, we have so much fun with this. There are people in our Impact League. What we built here is a gamified portfolio tracker. You can be completely anonymous, right? So like our investors, some of them are using very cryptic, appropriately, anonymized handles. So Earth Street is our most active investor so far this year with 11 investments. And Glenn Angel Investor, I know who Glenn is, but you don't, that's okay, 8, and Hippie Vibe Investors made 2, but we've got others on the list too. So we've got a lot of people who are investing. Some of the investors in our community have recorded over 100 investments with us in their portfolio. So it's a free gamified portfolio tracker. But that's not all. That's not all. For our impact members, we are, and for right now, on a teaser program, everyone gets this. Every stock in your portfolio, every company in your portfolio, and we're focused on Reg CF investments. Every portfolio company is tracked. And so if that portfolio company files anything with the SEC, you're going to get an alert. And so if they file an S1 to go public, you're going to get an alert. If they file a Form CAR with their annual report, you're going to get an alert. If they file an update on their current offering to say they've made progress, maybe they're done with their current offering, Form CU, you'll get that alert. If they file an amended Form C, a Form CA it's called, so that they've changed something, you're going to get an alert to let you know that they've updated their offering documents. So we're tracking all of that for you actively. We're going to build out more robust tracking for our max impact members who pay $155 a year. So stay tuned for that. We also have, even though our we built a tool for doing instant due diligence. And I know that some of you are not fans of AI. I get it. I get it. AI can't replace human judgment. But AI has an ability to do web searches and process data much more quickly than you. So if you pick an offering here, for $4.58 you can get one even without being a member. If you're an Impact member, you can do this on an unlimited basis for free. To be a $55 a year annual member, you can pick any current Reg CF offering and get a due diligence report. It takes about 5 minutes because the AI is doing some serious analysis. This isn't an instant ChatGPT prompt, tell me what you think about ketchup and mustard. No, this is like for real. This is serious research, serious analysis. It's going to take about 5 minutes, and you're going to get a meaningful report that starts out with a score. It's going to say this is on a scale of 1 to 10, this is a 5. Now, that doesn't replace your judgment. It enhances it, right? You're going to get data, links, information that you couldn't otherwise gather and process in 5 minutes. Trust me. Does it replace your own analysis? No, but it enhances it. It accelerates it and makes Reg CF investing even more profitable for you. We have built a directory for our Impact members. So you have to be a paying subscriber to get access to this. You can buy a day pass for $4.58. $4.58 is the monthly cost of an annual subscription with us, by the way. Enter as an Impact member, and you can get this for free. And for every offering on here, you can see a diligence report. And I'll just scroll down to this one here. This is one of my Devin's Pick of the Weeks. You get the access to Devin's Impact Pick of the Week when you are an Impact member. And this little due diligence report that's loading here. Oh, it didn't load. Sorry. In any case, there is behind that immunomatics. What you'll see when you click on that, it pulls it up in another window, so it didn't work. But in any case, it's going to give you it's a 14-page diligence report with 44 citations, right? 44 linked citations, so you can learn more about that offering. And that is powerful stuff. If you are an investor, that's worth money. I would also suggest that if you're raising money from the crowd, this is a great way to find out what people think of your deal. And you know, the honest truth is we see errors, often material errors, in most Reg CF filings. And so if you are, if you're a founder, I would check to see what we think of your offering, to see what you can update and correct, because most of them have problems. Now, one of the things that we built that is free is our filings database. We're really proud of this. You know, I've been using EDGAR, the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission's database of regulatory filings for companies that are public and other things. So if you do a Reg D offering, you have to file a Form D. If you're doing a Reg CF offering, you have to file a Form C. So this database is up to the minute, current. So this Celine Automotive filed a report this morning already, and it pulls up right here. So you can look at it and see what's going on. So if you want to look for filings with the Securities and Exchange Commission, our database accesses the real-time SEC EDGAR database, but it is much more usable and user-friendly. For instance, if you want to just see all the new offerings, click on the new offerings, Form C, click the search button, and it'll filter that down. And so now you can scroll and see all the new offerings this week. So there are about 6 or 7 new offerings so far this week. Okay. That is the end of the introduction. I hope you'll think about becoming a member of the SuperCrowd for $4.58 a month. If you buy that annual membership, I think you can get some value, and we would love to have you be a part of our community. And even if you just start for free, a lot of those resources we covered, they're free, or you can access them ad hoc for $4.58. So lots of resources for you. We encourage you to consider being a part of the Super Crowd if you are not yet really a full-fledged member of the Super Crowd. It's now my pleasure and privilege to introduce our next speaker. It really is a privilege for me to do this. And let me just pull Danny onto the screen. I see him here. He's ready to go. But Danny is an old converted an old utility truck into a camper and lived in it. Fulfilling orders during the week, then driving that same van to farmers markets and trade shows, sleeping in it to stretch every dollar. Danny Walsh is founder and CEO of Peak State. And that scrappiness paid off. Peak State won Naturally Colorado's Pitch Slam, got into Whole Foods, and now sits in more than 50 retail locations. With a biomedical engineering degree, MBA in sustainable business, please welcome PurposeBuilt100 winner, Danny Walsh. Danny, take it away.
Wow, Devin, quite the intro. Thank you so much.
Well deserved, well deserved.
I'm going to share some slides here.
Fantastic, please do.
All right, so can you do more good and still win?
Great.
That's the question I've been asking myself. And I hear a little bit of feedback. Do you guys hear that on your end? Are you guys hearing feedback? Great. Awesome. So how can we turn the impact that we're trying to create into a competitive advantage? I've basically been living that experiment for the last 6 years that I've been running my business as well as pretty much my whole career. So Peak State Coffee is a better for you and the planet coffee business. And at first, I thought doing good would automatically be better for business, but I've learned that it's a lot more complicated. And so today I want to talk about 3 lessons I've learned along the journey. And with that, I'll begin here. So 6 years ago, I started my business and sharing my products locally on the top of some mountains above Boulder, Colorado. And the root of my origin was really, can we do business better? Can we not compromise on health? Can we not compromise on the planet? And I had a lot of fun launching the brand. We launched on Kickstarter, but it also wasn't always a super fun part of my journey. To get a little bit personal for a second, at the beginning of my journey, I was told by a doctor that I had an autoimmune disease called ulcerative colitis, and that I was going to be dealing with that for the rest of my life. And that was tough news to swallow. So coming out of engineering school, instead of continuing on that path, I needed to really think about what could I do every day for my health? How could I get the sleep and the exercise and put the right foods into my body that I needed? And I actually ended up working in outdoor conservation right out of school in my 20s. And I was outside all day and, being able to move my body all day, live simply, sleeping very well. I started learning about plants and mushrooms and foraging. And I was living out on the trails. We were building trails and really just working for this nonprofit that did that impactful work. And while in the woods during that time, I learned about a mushroom called chaga that could be foraged and brewed into a tea, and that it had all these immune supporting benefits. And so I started brewing it and basically putting it into my coffee every day. And that was just sort of the spark for my business. The main premise of my business is that it's easy to forget a vitamin, but you never forget your morning coffee. And so I launched Peak State to try to make it easier to be healthy every day. And being a little bit of a coffee snob, I looked at a lot of these healthier coffees and mushroom coffees that were out there. And I didn't love some of the tastes of those products. I wanted to elevate the taste. And so I worked with a food scientist in Boulder, Colorado, and we developed a way to infuse whole bean coffee with health benefits from functional mushrooms without any weird taste compromise. And this was before the mushroom coffee trend was cool. And so to build a whole business around this, I said, if I'm going to start a business in the 2020s, I don't want to compromise on some of the problems with industrial agriculture. If we're going to be sourcing coffee, we're going to do it right. If it's going to be a health product, we're not going to be using pesticide farming. When I learned more about the coffee industry, I learned about how sometimes there's exploited labor, and sometimes people are plowing down the rainforest just to clear cut and grow crops faster. And I didn't want to be a part of that either. So, getting started, it had to do with examining everything. And I've always looked up to Yvon Chouinard of Patagonia, the founder of Patagonia, and he really mentions something that I think is so important, which is quality. Quality is everything. And so that leads me to lesson number 1, which is nobody owes you a purchase just because you do good. It really is not enough. And so the takeaway that I had there is product quality is everything. I think it's a trap that purpose-driven brands and founders can fall into. We're organic, we're sustainable, we give back, we treat people well, we do things right. But somewhere in there, we believe that customers should care about those things as much as we do, and they don't owe us that. They have their own problems they need to solve. The product needs to be great. It needs to taste great. It needs to solve a personal problem they have first. So this is sort of a framework that I've learned from that lesson, which is just you need to have a great product first. It needs to solve a real problem. It needs to appeal to those self-interested motives first. And then you can have your impact piece. And I think I heard on a former talk, Jiminy's mentioning a similar trend. So that leads me to my second lesson too. Purpose has a P&L. When we're absorbing all these externalities in the world, we're choosing higher quality, we're choosing organic, we're choosing maybe sustainable packaging, we're choosing to pay fair wages. All of these compete for margin, and that margin is the same thing that our competitors who are doing none of that could use to grow, to run Facebook ads. And so it's quite an interesting compromise. And I think that the way that I looked at it was I needed to figure out my economics really well. I needed to figure out how to fund myself as frugally as possible. So for me, that was pitch contests, that was Kickstarter campaigns, that was some credit cards, that was eventually an SBA loan. But I also had to control how much money I personally needed to live. And so I I actually converted an old uniform van into an office, a home, and a trade show mobile to keep my costs down from travel and hotel fees. And I lived in this. And On weekends, I'd take it to farmers markets, and during the week, I would go and send emails and be outside my warehouse and fulfill orders, and I would drive it across the country. I drove it to Expo West and ended up, sleeping in the van outside the parking lot, loading my booth myself, saving money. And I didn't do this because it's a quirky or a cool story. I did this because the math had to work. I was compromising on my margin. This delayed the timeline where I could fund my own growth. And as a bootstrapper, you have to be scrappy. So. Uh, I think that the main point, if there's one point that I want to make, it's that purpose makes economics more important, not less. And I think that experience completely changed how I think about my business. Economics, if you're a purpose driven business, are more important, not less. So if you voluntarily choose to be more responsible, more environmentally friendly, source higher quality ingredients, you don't get to care less about profit. You have to care more about building a fundamentally strong business. So profit is what allows us to endure that impact and sustain our mission. And if we cannot sustain our mission, then there's no mission. So lesson number 3 emerges out of that one. My third and final lesson is that impact has to become an advantage. So what is that advantage for your business? I mean, maybe that by sourcing more intentionally, the product quality increases and the product quality is the advantage. Or maybe your mission attracts great team members that come to work for you. Or maybe your certification does communicate with consumers something important that they resonate with after you've appealed to all the other criteria that your product needs to meet for them. Maybe it attracts realtors, maybe it attracts, I'm sorry, retailers, or maybe it attracts investors that are aligned with you. But you have to think about what that advantage is. I think that there's a tendency to become kind of like a Boy Scout collecting patches with all these different certifications that we can get. And I say this being guilty of it myself. It doesn't mean that all of these certifications are actually creating business value. So the framework that this is sort of a theory that I have, but a better product creates more trust. More trust creates more loyalty. And more loyalty creates a stronger business. That stronger business can then create more impact. But the impact has to feed the economics. It can't just be idealistic. And for me, I think that I don't want to underemphasize the importance of the impact as being part of a founder's why. At the end of the day, the founder is going to be the one who gets up and does this every day. And so if your mission and your impact is what allows you to keep doing that, then that is an important component of the impact advantage for your business. So don't underestimate that either. So I developed a framework to think about. This is just a practical takeaway for anyone listening. If you're considering doing something impactful with your business, it's important to ask yourself 3 questions. One is, does it create real impact? Are we actually helping to solve a problem that we claim to care about, or does it just look good? Question number 2 is, does it make the product better? Does it build, trust? Does it create loyalty? Does it differentiate us strategically? And then the third and final question is, can it scale? Can we afford to make this commitment if the company becomes 10 times larger? And if the first answer is no, then we risk being theatrical. And if the second answer is no, then the impact may be philanthropy rather than a competitive advantage. And that's okay, but we need to understand the difference. And if the third answer is no, then we haven't yet built a sustainable model. But when all 3 things are true, that's where I think impact starts to become a competitive advantage. And I think that that is the main point, is starting to think about our impact as we're further along as fitting all three of those, of that criteria. So what do I have of any proof so far that we can do good and still win? We're 6 years in. We've served over 50,000 customers with over 2 million in lifetime sales. We have 400 monthly subscribers as a part of our business. And I didn't want to build a business without being transparent about how we operate internally. So we got the B Corp certification. And I didn't want to build a business without doing something good externally. So we got the 1% for the planet certification. And I didn't want to plow down the rainforest or deplete topsoils while we were farming coffee that we were sourcing. So we're regenerative organic certified. And I didn't want to exploit labor while we were doing it. So we're also fair trade. And I don't want people to be drinking pesticides in their morning coffee. So we're also organic. And there may be some correlation rather than causation, but I think that our meaningful choices are a big part of our loyalty and a big part of reasons number 5, 6, or 7 people buy our products. We definitely haven't solved it yet. We're still figuring things out. We're still quite small and we're still very much on our way. But I just wanted to share my story. And I hope that any fellow founders or investors that have funded founders that are interested in the impact space can think about this challenge. Let's all build companies that succeed because of our values and not despite them. So if we are choosing to be impactful, let's make sure that we are aligning that impact with strategy, and let's make sure that we're not overly humble about it either, and that it is aligned with our missions. So again, I'm Danny. I'm the founder of Peak State Coffee, and hopefully this has convinced you that we can all do good and still win. Thank you.
Danny, that was fantastic. That was just, golly, I really appreciate you taking the time. And I'm impressed as you walk through all of those certifications. I know you're still a small business. And so I know from my own experience trying to do some of this kind of stuff, layering on the B Corp certification and the organic certification and the fair trade certification, that doesn't just happen. You spend hours documenting, tracking, reporting, establishing, proving your qualifications. Kudos. That means a lot. You know, you end up on the Purpose Built 100 list because, in part, of those credentials. We look for that evidence that you are what you say you are. And Danny, you've done a remarkable job sharing your story today. I thank you for making time to do this. I know you are busy. Congratulations on being a Purpose Built 100 winner. We think that is a really big deal. Let me just share some statistics. You probably are familiar with this. There are on the order of 13,000 benefit B Corps, right? And many more benefit corporations and benefit LLCs that aren't B Corps. And then you have the Inc. 5000 list has 5,000 companies on it. The Purpose Built 100 is 100 companies, carefully screened, ranked by growth. You, Danny, are on an elite list. Congratulations. You've earned it. You have earned it well.
Devin,
All right.
grateful to be here.
Well, we're thrilled to have had you. I want to invite you and to pop into the executive lounge for some networking. There's some folks in there who would love to meet you. I see in there at least one other Purpose Built 100 winner and some other folks. So pop in and say hi. And folks, if you are watching and you're thinking to yourself, oh, I want to talk to this Danny guy, go buy a $50 executive access ticket and pop into the Zoom room. You'll get the links and the tools, everything you need to do it. So I encourage you to go do that so you can talk to Danny. Danny, I hope you'll take advantage of that opportunity. Chandon, maybe you can put the link in the chat for Danny, in the private chat here in the studio, so that he doesn't have to track it down. Danny, thank you. And again, congratulations. It is now my privilege. Oh my gosh, this is really, kind of what I've been waiting for. It's time for the drum roll, right? We're gonna start celebrating winners. Right now, we're gonna do the ranking. We're gonna start with the ranking of the big impact players, we call them. These are the companies that are the large ones, generally speaking. These are the companies that have added the most revenue when calculated arithmetically among those who qualified for the Purpose-Built 100. So you have to be on the big impact players top 10 list, you must be a Purpose-Built 100 qualified winner. Not just big and giant, and impact oriented. You've got to qualify for the Purpose-Built 100 in every way, including some founder leadership. So let me walk you through now the top 10 list of the big impact players. I'm excited to do this. Number 10 is an Alabama bank, an Alabama financial institution called River Financial. This is a big community banking organization, still founder-led, really building out and genuinely serving its members in Alabama. So this is our number 10 player is River Financial. Netlist is providing high performance, low energy memory for data centers, helping to reduce the cost of the energy in the data centers. Figs. I have to confess, I have a soft spot in my heart for figs. I mentioned this before. Let me reiterate it again. But I had the founders of figs on my show in the very earliest days, back in 2013. This is when we were using Google Hangouts, is what the YouTube live stream tool was called back in the day. Google Hangouts is sort of still barely exists, does something else now, but Google Hangouts is how you would do a live stream, and I did that for a Forbes story that I did back in 2013. So these were some of the very first guests on my show. Heather and Trina are the founders of Figs. They were just getting started then, but they make scrubs, and they donate a pair of scrubs for every pair of scrubs they sell. And their scrubs are obviously fabulously successful. They're antimicrobial, so super healthy. They really took off during the COVID pandemic, went public in 2021. Last year they had $631 million in revenue. Just a standout Purpose-Built 100 company, number 8 on the big impact players list. Vireo Growth is expanding access to medical cannabis. Vita Coco, the Vita Coco company, is number 6, and they are doing coconut water with sustainable sourcing. Warby Parker, famous for their social entrepreneurship, their impact focus, buy a pair, give a pair. Warby Parker's been doing this for long over a decade now. Number 5 on the big player top 10 here at the Purpose Built 100. Sweet Green Casual. Casual fat, real food, sustainably sourced. It is inspiring. Maybe this is where Danny's going. Danny from Peak State. At some point, his potential could be as a public company doing huge revenue and being at the top of the Purpose Built 100 Big Impact Players list. Lemonade. Insurance donating unused premiums to nonprofit. It's fundamental, baked into their organization and their structure. This is a big company, still founder-led, being really impact-focused from top to bottom, start to finish. Green Thumb Industries, another cannabis wellness company with the community investment. And the number 1 big impact player for 2026 is Sunrun, which is a big solar company, and Sunrun is obviously inherently every solar panel they put up in reduces carbon emissions. In effect, I'm proud to be able to celebrate Sunrun as the number 1 big impact player for the list today. Well, to all of our friends at Sunrun, we congratulate you, and we celebrate you as real players in the impact arena, and we're happy for you. But we're just getting started. We're just getting started with that. We've got kind of a full day planned, but I will be back to announce more winners here very shortly. I'm going to take a minute, though, to talk about crowdfund investing, impact investing from the crowd, but through an interesting lens. I'm going to talk about benchmarking from the standpoint of the stock market. I want to frame this because I think there is a sense that impact investing via crowdfunding is somehow too risky. And instead, people are putting their money in the stock market. And we had a great discussion yesterday. One of our speakers highlighted the fact that when you invest even in a company like Sunrun, it's a public company, purpose-built. If you invest in Sunrun in the stock market, Sunrun doesn't get the money. Someone who sold those shares, probably BlackRock or some big financial institution, a big hedge fund, just sold you those shares. Chances are they know something you don't. They're selling, you're buying. Public markets are troubling. And yet, for ordinary Americans, it's hard to find a better investment alternative, right? Some of us love real estate investing. I happened to start my career by working in the foreclosures arena, and I saw how painful real estate can be. We saw that again during the Great Recession. We'll talk a little bit more about that Great Recession. Real estate is not a risk-free way to make high returns. So for most of us, the stock market is the best we're going to do. And I want to walk you through some thinking about using the stock market as a benchmark for your investing. Over the long haul, the stock market over the very long haul, more than a decade, consistently returns about 10%. This was true when I was studying finance as an undergrad a long time ago, and decades later, it is still true, right? That seems to be axiomatic. Is it a guarantee that you can always make 10%? No, of course not. That's what we're going to talk about today. But here's the reality. I think I checked recently, and the most recent period, 9.9%. Technically not quite 10%. But it doesn't vary much from this for the S&P 500, which is arguably the best measure of broad stock market performance. And so it tends to hover right around that 10% mark. And that's actually a very good return. If you were to consistently invest in the stock market and get these stock market returns over a career, over a 30 or 40-year career, you could become quite affluent. And I've seen it happen. People that invest in their 401ks consistently over a career, even people of relatively modest incomes who patiently defer some satisfaction, end up with very comfortable retirements. But there are some hazards. Let's be clear. During the Great Recession, which many of us alive remember vividly, as an active investor in the stock market, I watched my portfolio go down with the market from its peak on October 9th to its trough, that was in 2007, to the bottom of the market in March of 2009, 56.8% drop in the S&P. Of course, that meant some stocks during that window dropped 100%, right? General Motors dropped basically 100%. They filed for bankruptcy. Hear this, one of the stalwart companies in America, stock dropped to zero. That's painful, right? So this was a risky time to be holding stocks. And the fact is, every day is a risky day to hold stocks because this could happen. You could start tomorrow and you say, well, I'll just wait for it to come back up a little bit, and you just watch it go down and go down and go down and go down. It is a painful experience. It is really not any different than investing in a crowdfunding investment and watching it flame out. It happens in the stock market with individual stocks. So the broad portfolio over time does well, but over short windows, it can be genuinely catastrophic to your wealth. Let's also take it, let's note that 10% is almost impossible, right? First off, if you use index funds, which are arguably the best way to invest in the stock market, even there, you will pay a small management fee to have your money in the fund. So you can't get 10%. If you choose to put some of your money in actively managed funds, where the fund manager is trying to beat the stock market, then the fund manager will charge you even more than the index fund fees, typically at least 1% of your annual return. So if the fund manager is only successful in the long haul at meeting the stock market, and I'm going to be honest, academics will tell you the fund managers that beat the stock market are lucky, not good. There is no statistical proof that fund managers can consistently beat the market. Academics, finance professors will tell you it's a myth. The funds that typically have higher returns will do so by accepting higher risk, which means that your risk of having a bigger loss is greater. So it's really hard for an ordinary investor to even get 9% out of the stock market, and that's before the human tax, right? If you are a human being and you are managing your own money, even if that means deciding when to put it in which fund, when to put it in cash, when to take it out of cash, put it in a fund, even those basic decisions impose a human tax. And so what we're seeing is that statistically, humans lag the market by about 30%. So instead of getting 9 or 10%, you're getting 6 or 7% out of the stock market. And that becomes really painful. Now, let's talk a little bit about bonds. Bonds are an alternative, and it is genuinely safer to invest in publicly traded, AAA corporate bonds than it is to invest in stocks. But the returns are lower. Right now it's about 4 or 5% to invest in the stock market. It's average, or in the bond market. It's averaged about 6% over the last 30 years. It's a little lower, believe it or not. We talk about the relatively high interest rates now, but that's because we went through a period in the decade following the Great Recession. We had very low interest rates in place as we tried to get the economy restarted. And it wasn't until pandemic incentives and quirky things that we started to see inflation return and interest rates start to go back up. But even now, it's not quite back at the long-term average. Anyway, so if you are thinking about, well, what is safe, and even corporate bonds are not perfectly safe, right? Let's be clear, that is not a guaranteed, FDIC guaranteed rate of return. If interest rates rise, the price of the bond you are holding falls. It drops. So you actually will lose money on a bond just because interest rates go up, and they go up or down literally every day. So bond prices don't change a lot, but they change every single day, just like stocks. And let me go back just to quickly add that if you bought bonds in General Motors in the 90s when they were very highly rated, and then in 2010 were holding those bonds, trust me, you didn't get 100% on the dollar. You didn't get everything you were expecting in that massive bankruptcy. So that would have been, who would have guessed that you wouldn't be able to count on General Motors? Okay, a lot of investments, there are investment opportunities for wealthy people that are available to them that are not available to ordinary investors. For instance, some of the big Silicon Valley venture funds consistently return much more than the stock market. But to get into those funds, I haven't even checked lately what the minimum investment is, but in the past, it's been millions of dollars. Many private investment opportunities are available legally to only accredited investors and also have minimums that prohibit even some well-off accredited investors from participating. So even for many in the accredited realm, people who are quite affluent, there really isn't much opportunity to earn more than you can in the stock market. So when I talk about the stock market, I often use 10% as a benchmark because it does return that over the long haul. But the reality is it's very hard to get that return. And that has tremendous significance for you as an impact investor, right? If you are thinking about your impact investments and trying to decide whether or not you should be investing in the crowd and what return to expect, I want you to be excited when you're looking at a honeycomb credit loan to a small business owner that's doing something you like, or maybe a diverse founder, a woman business owner. You say, wow, she's offering me 11%. That return could beat the stock market. If you build a portfolio of well-screened loans, you can beat the stock market, and you may not be really taking on much more risk. So I encourage you to open your mind to crowdfund investing. You can get comparable returns to what you're getting in the stock market, which may be your best alternative, and instead you could have those opportunities to make a difference in the world where you're really not just investing, but investing for impact, investing for good. Whew. Okay, it's time for me to shift gears. I know what you want is you want some PurposeBuilt 100 ratings, and we're going to get back to that. I gotta get organized here. Give me a minute. Okay, so there's Danny. Okay, so we are ready to announce the first 50 winners of the PurposeBuilt 100. So let me cue this up here. So we're going to start by announcing winner number 100. And we're going to go up to 51 in this session. And then we will continue our work. Okay, I've hidden this from myself. Forgive me. Give me just a moment. Okay, getting it pulled up. Thank you for your patience. I appreciate that. We had one of our speakers this morning who was not able to join us kind of at the last minute. And so I've ended up spending a little more time on camera than I had planned. But I am grateful for the opportunity to be here with you. I don't mean that to sound at all like a complaint. So we're going to start counting down the PurposeBuilt 100 winners. This is so exciting. Like I say, I've been waiting all year for this moment, and I just couldn't be more excited about the opportunity. I'm going to put this right up over the top of me. I want to be clear before we start this. Number 100 on the list is a winner in an exclusive group of people. The PurposeBuilt 100 is a group of people that have achieved greatness, right? These are companies that have devoted themselves to mission and purpose. These are companies that have successfully scaled and grown. Some of them by orders of magnitude, some of them by hundreds of millions of dollars. These are companies that are accomplishing the most impressive results. And they've been very thoroughly screened, very thoroughly vetted. These are the 100 fastest growing, purpose-driven businesses in America. Number 100 is TerraCycle. TerraCycle is making the unrecyclable recyclable worldwide. This is a company that is doing phenomenal things. We've had the CEO, Tom, on our show a couple of times. He spoke at Super Green Live. We had their vice president on the show, on the SuperCrowd26 programming yesterday. They continue to raise money successfully from the crowd. They're doing a Reg A offering today. I want to congratulate TerraCycle, and encourage all of you to join me in congratulating our first winner, number 100, TerraCycle. The next winner on our list is LuxTech. And LuxTech is lighting that humanizes and decarbonizes buildings. This is really cool stuff. And I want to point out that LuxTech was referred by our friends at Investor Circle, the angel investment group that has been really the first organized angel investment group focused on social impact. And they've been around for decades. This is one of their investments, and this is one that they're very, very proud of. We congratulate LuxTech, number 99. Number 98, The Honest Company. Now, you'll remember The Honest Company is Jessica Alba's company. This is the company that Jessica Alba started. She remains active with the company on the board, though she is no longer the CEO. But what a remarkable story that she has created with The Honest Company. Then number 97 is Easy Expunctions. This is another company that was referred by our friends at Investor Circle. And what they do is it's tech-enabled record cleaning for second chances. So this is really serving the community of people who have been in trouble with the law. And you know, there are a lot of social justice advocates out there who argue that some of the way that our laws are imposed have some institutional racial bias. And so this is a tool to help make it easier for returning citizens to get their lives back and become full participating citizens in society. Quintus is a mobile-first communications company and digital lifestyle platform. They're number 96. Number 95 is Jiminy's, and we heard from the founder of Jiminy's yesterday, Ann Carlson, and boy, I tell you, I've never heard more profound insight from anyone. You know, everything I've done to help organize and prepare this event paid off just listening to her explain her thinking for 20 minutes yesterday. Really a priceless thing. So, Ann, congratulations. We're happy for you. Thanks for being a part of SuperCrowd26 and the PurposeBuilt100. Voro is responsible marketing for mission-driven brands. VoroMedia.com, number 94. Number 93, this is such a fun company. Nobility Homes is a company that's been around for a long time. Long time. But they've been making affordable manufactured homes, classic mobile homes, mobile homes. This is where a lot of people rely on companies like Nobility Homes for a place to live, a safe, sheltered place to live, high quality mobile homes, manufactured homes. There's an aspect of Nobility Homes that I just love. We looked among public companies. We wanted to see the entrepreneur, the founder, still connected actively to the business. And the chairman of the board of Nobility Homes is the founder of this business. It took me a while to verify this because the company was founded like 60 years ago. And I think his ranking, the Nobility Homes ranking on the PurposeBuilt 100 almost perfectly matches the founder's age. He continues to serve as the chairman of the board, now I think in his 90s. A remarkable story, and congratulations to Nobility Homes. Nerdy, online tutoring, expanding education access. Number 92. Congratulations to the team at Nerdy for being a PurposeBuilt 100 winner. Credit Risk Monitor. This is Financial Risk Intelligence Preventing Failures, number 91. Congratulations, Credit Risk Monitor. Escalon Medical is Ophthalmic Imaging Advancing Eye Care, and they are company winner number 90. Congratulations, Escalon Medical. GoodellNet is number 89. IT consulting powering mission-driven organizations. I believe GoodellNet is remarkably a certified B Corporation, and they are very proud of maintaining a high commitment to the community, to their employees, and to the environment. Instant Teams. Liza is a remarkable entrepreneur. Congratulations, Instant Teams, number 88. Liza has built a staffing company that focuses on serving primarily the spouses of active military members. They end up moving around a lot and they struggle sometimes to find employment. And so she's developed a whole staffing platform that allows them to find jobs quickly when they end up in a new location. Some of those jobs are remote, and she is employing a lot. Instant Teams is employing a lot of great people now, really enabling and empowering the community of current active service members and their families. It's really a tremendous blessing for them. Congratulations to Instant Teams. Jason Weiner PC, number 87. Congratulations to our friends at Jason Weiner. This is a law firm that focuses on serving social entrepreneurs. And we had Jenny Casson on the program yesterday. She'll be back today for a discussion later this afternoon. She's one of the attorneys there at Jason Weiner PC, but Jason remains active in that business. Congratulations to Jason and everyone on the Jason Weiner law firm team. Laird Superfoods. This is plant-based superfoods sustainably made. That's my kind of jam, let me tell you. Congratulations to Laird Superfood number 86. South Dakota Soybean Processors, number 85. This is a farmer-owned soybean processing community. It's a cooperative, really quite a remarkable PurposeBuilt 100 company. So to our friends at South Dakota Soybean, congratulations. We are so happy for you making the PurposeBuilt 100. Number 84 is G Girl's Closet. This is fashion where giving is the fabric. We had Priscilla yesterday on the show. That Patricia Gilmore is the founder, and she is just, what an amazing woman. It was really a highlight for us to have her yesterday, have a conversation with her, because she is doing such remarkable, impressive work. It's not just a matter of reselling used clothes. she operates what you could fundamentally describe as a thrift store, but it's so much more. She runs internships and mentoring programs with the local high schools, does all kinds of job training there, helping those folks learn about business, not just the retail aspects of the upfront, but the backstage things, so that they actually understand how business works fundamentally, plus the environmental impact of keeping clothing out of the landfill and making affordable, quality clothing available to people. And she does fundraisers for schools and nonprofits, often contributing 40% of her take to those organizations. I mean, it's just amazing, layer upon layer upon layer of social impact. And number 84 on the Purpose Built 100. Congratulations. Healthcare Originals. Oh my gosh. Another just phenomenal company. This one is led by Sharon Samjik Singh. She is an extraordinary entrepreneur, a long and deep career, and she's building Healthcare Originals, which has wearable devices. Think something a little bit like a continuous glucose monitor that is kind of all the rage these days. Well, her device measures your breathing and helps you predict asthma attacks before they happen, allowing you to tweak your behaviors and your treatments and what you're doing so that you don't have asthma attacks. And the data is starting to just pour in, showing that it works remarkably well. She also acquired another company helping to facilitate continued growth that makes affordable prosthetics. Oh my gosh. Sharon Samjik Singh is an extraordinary leader. I love learning from her because she is so smart. But congratulations, Sharon, and to everyone on the team at HCO Healthcare Originals, number 83. Number 82, Vector Global Logistics. I want to congratulate the team. This is logistics with purpose, shipments that give. They are truly and genuinely committed to making the world a better place by making logistics run more efficiently, more environmentally friendly, et cetera, et cetera. Great company. CareView Communications, number 81. Congratulations, CareView team. This is virtual care protecting patients in hospitals. Great growing company. Again, congratulations to the team at CareView. Wise Advise and Assist team. Congratulations. This is another company that is helping military spouses thrive. So it's great to see our active service members and veterans getting the help they need from some of our Purpose Built 100 companies. Congratulations and kudos to the team at Wise. Transparent Health Group, number 79. Healthcare access for the underinsured. Transparent Healthcare. I want to congratulate the team there. I love seeing healthcare companies on the list because this is such a vital problem. And really, there's so many people underinsured, uninsured in the United States. This is a vital need. I'm so grateful that they are existing and thrilled to see them thrive. Congratulations to the team at Transparent Healthcare. Mark was on the program yesterday. Mark is the founder at Pajama Factory, and this is a historic factory that is being reborn as a venue for local business and artists especially, and the business is just thriving and growing in this small, old, Rust Belt town in Pennsylvania, just becoming a vibrant center and hub of the community. Mark, to you and your team, congratulations on being number 78 on the Purpose Built 100. Anna Ono, this is such an important company. They make intimates for people affected by breast cancer. I've had too many friends, loved ones, family members in this situation, and I'm so glad that they are there to provide that vital care for people in our community. Set apart accountancy. Oh, do I just love Danielle? Danielle has become, she's built the leading accounting firm for regulation crowdfunding and regulation A plus kinds of offerings. And so she's supporting this whole ecosystem of entrepreneurship and social entrepreneurs. And don't get me wrong, I want to be very clear, the correlation between the crowdfunding community and social impact is direct. It is direct. When people can go to raise capital from venture capitalists and some of the more traditional sources they do, and it's often the high impact companies, the diverse founders, the women who are locked out of those capital markets or struggle, face daunting challenges there, who end up raising capital from the crowd. And Danielle is doing an extraordinary job of serving that community. I congratulate you, Danielle, on being number 76 on the inaugural Purpose Built 100 ranking. JSDA, this is virtual first operations, near zero emissions, but it's a design firm, and so they're helping do interior design in, that kind of think LEED businesses, and so you in those LEED buildings and things to help people build more in a more environmentally friendly and decorate in a more environmentally friendly way. Congratulations, Janice. We're thrilled. We're grateful for your participation on the program yesterday. And again, congratulations to you on being number 75 on the Purpose Built 100. We've celebrated FIGS already on the Big Impact Players list. They are number 74 on the overall list here for the Purpose Built 100. So they're showing up on two lists. Congratulations to Heather and Trina. We're thrilled to see you doubly recognized today as for the tremendous success you are obviously having with your business of making scrubs and giving them away in the developing world. And we congratulate you on your tremendous success. Whoosh Innovations. This is a company that I love their effort at restoring salmon migration around past dams. Really important work for the whole natural ecosystem. Congratulations to the team at Whoosh Innovations. I think they have a live crowdfunding offering right now. If not, I apologize. They've had one recently. Great company, worth considering. I encourage you to check out whoosh.com. Butterfly Network, number 72. Congratulations. This is a handheld ultrasound democratizing medical imaging company. Congratulations to Butterfly Network. Holidaily Brewing. Congratulations to Holidaily Brewing. This is an award-winning beer that is gluten-free. You know, the fundamental ingredients in traditional beer are gluten-rich. And so it's been a real challenge for those who are avoiding gluten, especially those who really can't handle it at all. and there are some in this world who literally can barely be in the room with gluten, let alone eat any. And so congratulations to Holidaily Brewing, a remarkable success to find yourselves on the being number 71 on the PurposeBuilt 100 ranking. Congratulations to the team at Holidaily Brewing. Vita Coco, another big company, doubly recognized, of course. So Vita Coco, number 70 on the overall list. Congratulations to the team there. Embassy Bank Corp. This is another hometown banking strengthening the Lehigh Valley up in Pennsylvania. So number 69. Number 69, Embassy Bank. Congratulations to the team at Embassy Bank. And number 68, Warby Parker. Classic. Give a pair, buy a pair, give a pair. Optometry, making a difference now for well over a decade. This is just a great company. We're grateful to them and congratulate them on their big double listing, having been listed on the Big Impact Players, and now, of course, to qualify for that, they had to be here. This is their rank, number 68. Number 67, Omnitech Engineering. This is natural gas conversions cutting diesel emissions. So this is, an environmental impact by cleaning the air. Those diesel emissions, the particulate matter coming, the PM10s and PM2.5s are just terrible on our lungs, and it's great to see Omnitech addressing that with natural gas conversions. Origin Clear, modular water treatment without big infrastructure. It's great to see them recognized. Congratulations to the team at Origin Clear, number 66. PureBase. PureBase is mineral soil products for sustainable farming. This is to help reduce the reliance on chemical fertilizers. Really, oh man, if you like eating food, this is the kind of thing you got to celebrate. So congratulations to PureBase, number 65 on the PurposeBuilt 100 list. First Pacific Financial. Congratulations to the team there, number 64. This is wealth guidance as a force for good, deeply committed to impact investing and ESG investing. Number 63 on our list is Sunrun, our number one big impact player. So congratulations to Sunrun for qualifying for the PurposeBuilt 100. Number 63, remarkable for a company of their scale, well over $1 billion in revenue, to continue growing at that scale. Really a remarkable sign. Congratulations to the team at Sunrun. Also, woman-led company, by the way. The woman that runs it now is not the woman that founded it, but a woman-led company. Congratulations. Redwood Literacy. What a vital service, what a vital company, helping literacy intervention for dyslexic learners. People can be challenged with that learning difference, and it is remarkable to see how, with a little bit of coaching, training, that learning difference can be converted into an asset of strength and can get completely out of the way, enabling people to succeed. What great impact. So congratulations to the team at Redwood Literacy, number 62. BioEssence, traditional medicine wellness for modern care, number 61. I want to congratulate the team at BioEssence. Zero Shoes. We're going to hear from Steven, the founder, later today, but Zero Shoes is barefoot-inspired footwear building natural strength. This is an entrepreneur you have got to follow. Just absolutely a special guy. And so do not miss his presentation later today. You're going to love this. You're going to be grateful for it. And check out the shoes. I mean, what an amazing assortment of shoes. This is a big, successful company. Number 60 on the Purpose Built 100 list. Congratulations, Steve, and to everyone at your team. Number 59, Sweet Green. Sweet Green. Congratulations to the team at Sweet Green. Again, this was a big impact player. Now number 59 on the overall ranking. Real food, fast casual, sustainably sourced. Congratulations to our friends at Clearing Bid. Equal access IPO investing for all, number 58. Matt Venturi is a friend of mine. We're so grateful for the work that they're doing. But for a long time now, for decades, we've been able to observe that the IPO market is fundamentally broken because it is so hard to get any genuine access to an IPO, right? If you're an ordinary investor, it's almost impossible. And Clearing Bid has built the system to enable everyone to get equal access to IPOs. It's just a wonderful new technology, and we're excited to see them scale and want to see them continue to grow and thrive. Poetry versus Hip Hop. What an exciting company. Poetry versus Hip Hop, led by Queen Sheba. This is artistry in motion. I happened to connect with Queen Sheba years ago on an international excursion with a small group of people, and so I spent a week with her. She's really an amazing entrepreneur. I attended one of her events in Atlanta a couple of years back, and I mean, she just packs the house for people to come hear poetry and hip hop in one venue. And it really is just an amazing high energy deal. And so she's celebrating culture and community and art. Number 57, Queen Sheba. And to your team at Poetry versus Hip Hop, congratulations to you. Number 56 is the Swan Impact Network. This is uniting impact investors and founders. They're based in Texas and expanding rapidly, but this is a network of angel investors focused on impact investing. We're thrilled to have a connection with them, and we look forward to building out our partnership with them, but we congratulate them. One of their chapter leaders led a panel discussion of angel investors yesterday on our program. Heather Gilker, we're grateful for her and congratulate her, and Suresh Sundarababu, who is the executive director. Congratulations to everyone at the Swan Impact Network. Number 55, Brownies Marine Group. This is Drive Gear making underwater exploration safer. Dive gear, not drive gear. Dive gear making underwater exploration safer. Congratulations to the team at Brownies Marine Group. Number 55. Number 54. We're getting up there now. We're getting up close to that top half. Cooley, our friend Lisa Curtis, she spoke yesterday. I love what Lisa is doing. This is, one of those deeply multi-layered things, entrepreneurship deals, because Coulis is bringing superfoods primarily from Africa to the U.S. and enhancing our health by helping us access these new diverse foods that we've been missing in our diet, and at the same time supporting in a fair trade kind of way the agricultural development of these climate-friendly, people-friendly foods, and creating economic opportunity for people in Africa, even as she improves our diet. I love, too, that she's done some crowdfunding. We're excited for her. Lisa, and to all of the team at Coulis, congratulations on being a Purpose-Built 100 winner. Moving Worlds, congratulations to the team at Moving Worlds. This is another company that is so rooted and grounded. And we had Mark Korashevsky on the program yesterday. He called his presentation Harder on Purpose. And it really, I love that it resonated so nicely with this concept of purpose built. And his point was they have worked hard to ensure that they stay grounded in mission and purpose in everything they do, and that acting otherwise is secondary. That is, they try never to sacrifice anything for people. People always come first. Mission comes first. And really an inspiring thing. Watch the replay if you missed Mark's presentation yesterday. It was truly inspiring. I'm grateful to them. Mark, to you and your team at Moving Worlds, congratulations. They're building capacity building for social enterprises worldwide by harnessing experts in the United States and helping them do experteering excursions around the world. Done it in like 100 countries. Green Thumb Industries, congratulations. Cannabis wellness and with community investment, number 52 on the list. And number 51, congratulations to our friends at Elemento Health. And we're going to stop here today, but our Elemento Health is point of care coaching for frontline clinicians. What they're trying to address is making sure that everyone in the healthcare environment has the resources they need instantly to make good healthcare decisions, to eliminate people dying from care errors, right? Depending on the statistics you read, something like hundreds of thousands of people are dying every year because of medical treatment mistakes. And this is where Elemento Health is playing right there, that point of care, moment of care, trying to make sure that everyone has access to know exactly what to do in the circumstance, so there's no guessing. So congratulations to all of those Purpose-Built 100 winners. We'll be back throughout the day with more rankings, more announcements, but I hope you're beginning to appreciate what an extraordinary group of companies we're recognizing at the Purpose-Built 100. Carefully screened, fully vetted, and ranked by growth, by that percentage growth. How does the 2025 revenue compare to 2021 revenue? That's a big deal. It's a big deal, and we are just getting started with that. We're going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, we're going to hear from our next speaker, Marty Tate. So stick around. You don't want to miss a minute of what we've got going on today.
Raising capital, it's not just marketing.
It's securities law.
Most deals, they don't fail because of the returns that are offered.
They fail because of compliance mistakes.
And that's what we do
Every day, we help entrepreneurs raise money the right way.
before problems ever start. If you're raising capital,
Talk to crowdfunding lawyers first.
Quit, lend me your ear. I can make your memories disappear. Let me turn enemies into dearly beloved round trip when you barely recover. Game changer.
Digital Niche Agency is the top investor acquisition agency. DNA has helped founders raise over 9 figures via regulated investment crowdfunding with a 3-pronged strategy using digital advertising, content marketing, and strategic outreach. Book a call today.
The CFPA advocates and advances the regulated investment crowdfunding industry. This October, join founders, investors, platforms, and policymakers in Washington, D.C. for the Regulated Investment Crowdfunding Summit. Register now at ricsummit.org.
Behind today's biggest crowdfunding raises.
The leading CPA firm for Reg CF, Reg A, and Reg D compliance.
Trusted,
Experienced.
set apart.
Welcome back, Marty. We're ready for you.
Eureka! How can I save money on a patent? That's it. Menlo Park Patents.
$50 shareholders can quickly become 5,000. One raise can get you there, and equity stock transfer is built for that scale. Learn more at equitystock.com.
Welcome back, everyone. You know, this is the day I've been waiting for a year. It's like Christmas Day. I'm having so much fun. I hope you're enjoying this as we celebrate the Purpose Built 100 winners. I'm really excited now to introduce our next speaker, Marty Tate. Let me get Marty on the screen here. Marty's a big deal. Our next speaker has spent more than 26 years at the frontier of securities law and keeps moving to wherever the frontier goes. Marty Tate is corporate finance and securities partner at Massey, Bean & Lewis and chief legal officer at Core Inside, working across crowdfunding, digital assets, blockchain, DeFi, fintech, venture capital, and fund formation, Regulation A, Regulation D, Reg CF. He has guided companies through all of it. Passionate about the future of capital formation, please help me welcome Marty Tate. Marty, thanks for being here, my friend. It's so good to have you. We appreciate you being a sponsor of the event, and we're excited to learn from you.
Thanks, Devin.
Do you have slides that you want to pull up?
Yeah, I do.
Great.
We'll get those right here.
Fantastic.
All right.
We're
you got
looking forward to hearing from you here.
Perfect. Well, yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, that's looking good. I'm out of here, man. You take over.
Okay, sounds good. Hey, well, welcome everybody. I'm super excited to be here today and to talk about a few things that I really am passionate about. I appreciate Devin and SuperCrowds for inviting me and having me as part of their program. I've known Devin for a long time, and we, in a former life, we served together on a board of directors for a local community foundation. So Devin gave a great introduction, but I'll add, to it. So my name is Marty Tate. I am a corporate finance securities attorney. I've been practicing for longer than I care to mention. I have been involved in crowdfunding since the very beginning, since before the Jobs Act. My first client in the crowdfunding space was a peer-to-peer payday lender that wanted to figure out how we could do peer-to-peer lending in that space. And we didn't have the Jobs Act. It was really difficult. We went through a lot of headache and creativity trying to get there. And along the way, I was introduced to the people who were working on the Jobs Act and crowdfunding, and have been involved ever since, and have represented issuers, platforms, service providers, you name it, along the way. So, and what I want to talk about today is this perfect marriage of impact investing, companies that are making an impact today, and crowdfunding. The title is Impact Investing plus Crowdfunding Equals True Love Always. By way of background, we'll just want to give a little bit of it. Most people know what impact investing is. We've got a lot of companies here that are making impact. I work with one of my clients is a large impact investment group, and they this is their niche. They invest in companies that make an impact. What they want to do is they want to find a class of investments they want to invest in companies that are making an impact globally, locally, nationally, in areas such as developing communities, affecting our environment, the overall goodwill and well-being of the people that live, in a certain area or throughout the world. And impact investing, what it does is it's saying, hey, we're going to make an investment. We're going to because we believe not only in the company and what it's doing as far as its mission, but also what we believe it can do as an investment. So they invest, typically impact investing takes place across a wide array of fields and classes. One of the keys is they do want a return. This is impact investing is not just, it's not donations, it's not charitable. They're designed to hopefully make a return. So where it fits, like I said, this is not charity, this is not philanthropy. What they're seeking is there's a scale here, and impact investing sits with one end. You have profit-only investing. This is the venture capitalists. This is the angel investors, for the most part, who are seeking, hey, we want to make a profit, we want to make a return. The next is you have people that say, hey, we want to invest, but we also, want to be responsible in our investments. We want to pursue those investments that are going to promote, certain things that we think are important, and companies that we think are promoting those things. And then on the far end, you have impact only, like, hey, we believe in this. We ultimately just care about what the ultimate impact of this company is, and what they're able to do in their community, in their sector, in their to address an issue globally. And right before that is you have impact investing, saying, hey, we want to make a profit, but we also really care about the investments and the impact that they can make. this market's real. These are some older numbers, and they've grown since then. This was the numbers I pulled from another presentation I made, but this is an area that, you know, in the hundreds of billions of dollars are being invested in towards companies and that are making impact, that are making a difference, that are bringing about social changes and environmental changes, and most of the money comes from larger investors. It comes from banks, it comes from foundations, it comes from financial institutions, insurance companies. Those are the people who are making most of these investments. But there are individual investors that this is their sweet spot. This is where they want to make an investment. The appeal of impact investing to these investors, the reason why they do it is, one, it allows them to diversify their portfolio. It opens up asset classes that they react differently. It might allow them to again, diversify or act as a hedge against other investments. It might align with their values. They might say, hey, I really believe in the types of things that this company also believes in. One of the things you're seeing too is this sort of generational change where millennials and Gen Zs are now showing a preference for things that align with their values. They won't invest in certain companies because they're involved in certain things, or they will invest in certain companies because they promote, you know, those types of things that matter to them. Other areas, there's a risk management element to it. They believe that we want to invest in these companies because it will reduce the overall risk, not necessarily of my portfolio, but overall risk to the economy, to the globe. We're investing in companies that are dealing with climate change. We're investing in companies that have good labor practices and so forth, because we think that overall is going to help the economic well-being of the ecosystem. And finally, like I said before, when people do impact investing, they invest because they expect a return. So that's impact investing. That's one side of the coin. So what is crowdfunding? Crowdfunding is just that. It's raising money from the crowd. It can be viewed as anything as shouting from the rooftop about an investment opportunity, to putting in a newspaper or running an ad, but most commonly it's raising money through the use of the internet. It's using social media, it's using a website, a platform to promote your company and sell your stock, your debt to the crowd. Crowdfunding, when we hear it, there's multiple kinds. What mostly we're talking about here is this equity or debt based, but there are donation based, where like a GoFundMe, where people will contribute to a cause or to a person. That's crowdfunding, right? They donate, they don't expect anything in return. There's rewards based, where people, and this is like Kickstarter or Indiegogo, that you're pre-buying a product, or you're investing in a company, you're giving to a company in exchange for a product or some swag or recognition or some perk that you might get out of that. But what we're talking about, in the area I deal in as a securities lawyer, is people that are raising capital through the crowd, and raising it in the form of equity or debt or revenue sharing. This is and it's typically referred to as equity crowdfunding, even though it can include debt and other items. So it's a perfect match. And these are supposed to be, this is AI trying to create two dogs that are rubbing their noses together, but it's overlapping. Anyway, it's a perfect match for me, because I think that the crowdfunding campaigns that work are the campaigns that really excite people. The crowdfunding campaigns that work are ones that people believe in. They believe in that community. They believe in that community restaurant or company. They believe in companies that believe in the same things they do. Those are the campaigns that are traditionally successful. Ideas that can make a true impact. So most impact deals have traditionally raised capital. Most impact companies traditionally raise capital through private placements, from high net worth individuals, from institutions. That's where most of the money comes from. These are large checks that they're written, and there will always be a place for that. But with crowdfunding, impact deals can raise capital from the public, from those true believers that really believe in their concept. They can write small checks, and it's open to everybody. It's not open to just accredited investors or high net worth individuals or institutions. It's open to everybody. So if you're a company that has that appeal, your backers, people that believe in you, people that follow you on social media, people that like your comments, people that want to know what you're doing and believe in what you're doing, they can now invest in your company by using crowdfunding. The most common crowdfunding, when people think of crowdfunding, what people most commonly think of is Regulation CF, or regulation crowdfunding. This allows issuers to raise up to $5 million over a 12-month period from an unlimited number of investors. It's fast, it's relatively inexpensive. The catch is you do have to use a broker-dealer or a licensed intermediary or funding portal. But this will allow you to reach out, use your social network, market to your believers, to your customers who follow you. It's a great marketing tool. It allows you to advertise, but it also allows you to build that support and raise capital. For larger raises, there's Regulation A, which allows you to raise up to $75 million. This is a little bit of a longer process because it does have to go through SEC qualification. But there's been large success from companies raising capital through Regulation A. Like I said, it's open to everybody and allows issuers to raise a significant amount of capital through this process. Here's some things at a glance. One is $5 million, the other is $75 million. They both have disclosure documents that are required. There are some limits on the amount people can invest if you're not an accredited investor. There are some ongoing reporting requirements. But the negatives, I think, are really outweighed by the positives. The way it works is something you guys are already doing. You build that network. You're turning your customers and community into the owners of your company and your advocates. People invest in things they believe in, and they believe in things that they invest in. If you have this customer base, then it's a way to expand. It's a way for them to tell their friends and family about it. Not only do they visit that, not only are they supporting you through being a customer or an advocate, they also can support you with their dollars, and they can share that with their friends. And it's already working. There are portals that are dedicated to impact investing, Regulation CF funding portals. There are funds that have used Reg A to make a social impact in what they're doing, and there are companies that are active in the social impact. A lot of med tech companies, a lot of companies that are really doing some fabulous work with medical technology and advances that have raised capital using Reg A. So how do we do this? Basically, you say, hey, what do we want to? What's our goal? Are we trying to build our network? Are we trying to build our reach? Are we trying to raise capital? Figure out the way to do this and that strategy. Where are you going to go? Who do you want to market to? And how do you want to do it? And then figure out the best way forward using these exemptions. There are some risks with any type of securities investment, both for investors and investors. So it's important that you have a good partner. There's a lot of great partners here on SuperCrowd, legal partners that can help you through this. And we're happy to be one of those. Key takeaways are crowdfunding and impact investing, I think, are two areas that really, like I said, I think it's a match made in heaven. A great way for issuers, for small companies to raise capital, to raise awareness, build their network, and increase their impact. And I'm open for questions.
Fantastic. Marty, thank you so much. I would love to just drill down a little bit on some of this because it's so important. You and I go back to, we worked together most closely at the Community Foundation of Utah, but we knew each other before that. I had clients in common. I think going back to my investment banking days, 20 years ago. Yeah. So it goes way back. But when we think about philanthropists, there is an odd tension that our brains kind of struggle to do impact investing a little bit. The reality is our brain says, if I'm going to profit, it can't possibly be good for someone else too, right? And so when you hear that from whether it's a super affluent entrepreneur who cashed out and has $100 million, or whether it's, one of your lawyer friends who is giving, $3,000, $10,000 a year to charity, but isn't investing for impact, what would you say, how would you maybe pitch it to get them to consider, hey, you're a good person wanting to do all this good in the world, come over here and do some of this. What would be your pitch?
Well, one of the things that you see, and I think you nailed it, is people like to do both of those things. They just keep them separate. Like if something's broken, right? They have, people are donating towards causes they believe in. They are making contributions, and they also have their portfolio, and they're trying to grow their, wealth and invest in things that they think will return a profit. It's the idea of marrying those two, and I think it really is incumbent upon the, both the issuers, but us in the community to say, hey, this is, we're a company that's doing some really fantastic things. What are the things that are important to you? And finding, so from an investor perspective, what are the things that are important to you, or to me as an investor? What's important to me as an investor? And what are the companies that are doing those things, and then finding those and using those and investing in those as part of what you're already doing. You're already making investments. You're already trying to, again, the 401k or save for retirement. And these can be a great piece of that. Now, one of the problems is a lot of these companies, we don't have access. You were just talking previously about access to IPOs and so forth. Through crowdfunding, this is a way to gain access to those companies that you truly believe in. From an issuer's perspective, as somebody that has a business that says, we really are making a difference. One of the biggest problems I think they have is saying, how do we get the word out there? How do we let people know what we're doing and how fantastic it is? Well, actually, crowdfunding can do that. You can market not only your company, but your deal and your backers, people that are like, wow, I really like that company. They're really making a difference in the world. Their values align with my values. They're doing what I want to do. You can put your money where your mouth is and say, you know what, I want to help them. And that can be a part of my portfolio. So I think there is that disconnect, and crowdfunding to me is like the perfect space where those two things can meet.
Well, I couldn't agree more, and it's frustrating to me sometimes when I talk to people who are active investors and active in philanthropy at whatever scale, right? Because whether you're giving away $1,000 a year or $10,000 a year, if you're not investing for impact, you're missing such a powerful opportunity to merge, to marry. So I really appreciate you coming and kind of helping us think through that, Marty, because it's so vitally important. And I love that you talked about the dogs rubbing their nose together, but crowdfunding aligns with that so perfectly. One of the things we do see is that when the crowd invests, oftentimes it's investing, and you see this, I'm sure, right? The messaging that resonates when your clients are going out to raise capital often isn't the financial returns. It's what are you doing? Yeah. What makes this cool? And some of the messages that resonate best are, we're curing cancer. We're making lives better for people this way or that way. We're, addressing climate change or the environment. You just see it all the time. Humans, we connect to that, don't we? At a level that an investor may not connect to that. A human, does.
100%.
Right? Yeah. So it's interesting how crowdfunding and impact investing are really good partners. I love how you brought that message together. Marty, thank you so much for being with us. We appreciate your financial support for this event and other things that we do. I think you'll be at the summit in DC, right? The Reg CF, the Crowdfunding Professional Association Summit. So I'll be there. You'll be there. I hope a lot of you who are watching will join us, because that's going to be a great event, and you'll have another opportunity not just to hear Marty's expertise, but meet with him. Marty, if you've got a few minutes, I invite you to pop into the Zoom, where we've got the executive access. Just there are a few people in there that I know want to meet you. I think you'd really enjoy meeting some of the people that are in there right now. But in any case, Marty, thank you very, very much. Really appreciate it.
Fantastic. Thanks for having me, Devin. I appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. It's now my next pleasure to introduce our next speaker, Gene Edelman. You met him yesterday in the live pitch. He's back to go even deeper. Gene Edelman co-founded Azure Printed Homes, 3D printing entire structures from recycled materials, 70% faster, 30% cheaper than traditional construction, from factories in Los Angeles and Denver, workforce housing, affordable homes, shelter for disaster victims, a 2025 Fast Company Global Innovator, and a PurposeBuilt 100 winner. Congratulations, Gene, and welcome back to the stage. Thank you, Gene, for being here.
Great to see you.
The pleasure is all ours. It's all ours. Thank you.
And let's see whether my PowerPoint can be better today than yesterday.
It looks good. It looks like we're off to a good start.
Yeah.
Take it away, my friend.
Yeah. Well, again, great to be here. What I'm hoping to talk today is about building homes and also building trust. I want to talk about power of 3D printing with sustainable materials, and of course about crowdfunding, right? Let's see. Housing has a productivity problem. We still assemble sophisticated products outdoors, one project at a time. We started the same thing with cars 100 years ago. We went from a horse buggy to making cars in factories. And look at the progress we've made. There are electric vehicles, very cool-looking vehicles. With housing, unfortunately, today, most of the processes are exactly the same way they were 100 years ago. Building at different sites with small crews, a lot of times shortage of labor, shortage of materials, and if the weather is if it's too hot or too cold, if it rains or snows, you slow down. So construction is too slow, too expensive because it's still done kind of the way we did 100 years ago. If you go in front of any construction project, it could be a big office building or it could be a small house. You see these huge trash bins. All the waste that's generated is just unbelievable. Construction is the third worst polluting industry, second only to oil and gas and others. So a lot of waste, a lot of use of just materials like wood that could be used for other purposes. And so all of this makes it every project unpredictable. So I'm not the first one to say what if we were to manufacture homes. Modular construction industry is a huge industry. Clayton Homes is owned by Warren Buffett, Berkshire Hathaway, the biggest company. They have probably 50% of the industry. Kafko and Champion are the other two large companies. But there has been some stigma that manufactured homes don't look good or don't appreciate value, and all of this really we've been able to change this because we can now have digital design. It's not like in the good old days when you had to look at a catalog and pick A, B, C, or D. You can really bring your own design that we can use. Robotics and 3D printing makes the process much faster and less expensive. Factory finishing means much higher quality than it's on site. And then bring the projects on site in a matter of days, not months or years, when you install them. And the goal is, after it's all said and done, is for people in the community not even know that it was done in the factory. So the breakthrough is not just one machine; it's a complete design to production to installation workflow that we've been trying to improve. And of course, what makes us different is the fact in robotics. We use 3D printing or we have robotics to use light gauge steel for areas where there is high fire risk. The process of making the module itself just takes one day. And this light gauge steel is really alternative to material that we've developed. We use recycled plastic and fiberglass. But for areas that have high fire risk, you should build homes that have a much better chance of surviving wildfires. In terms of recycled materials, we use tens of thousands of recycled water bottles, plastic, to make homes. So not only does it help save the cost, but it helps the planet because you don't have to put this much recycled water bottles in the landfills. And the quality assurance I talked about a little bit, but now you can use even employees who might not have as good of a skill, but it's a great place to train, great place for them to learn how to do it because there is constant supervision. Be it light gauge steel or plastic fiberglass components, they're made to millimeter precision. So it's not, in that respect, it's just like building cars. It'll be much higher quality than something done on site without supervision. So, what we're about, and I think this whole 3 days been talking about is how do you have impact, positive impact, but I also believe that you need to have something that's very economical because that's the only thing that can scale. To do something just worries about impact and doesn't produce units that are less expensive or faster, that doesn't make sense. And there's still, I'm amazed, I still go to the conference and that question always comes up. I say, well, if you use a factory, is it going to be more expensive? And I tell people, if it costs more expensive, just don't do it. I mean, I've been developing and building things for 35 plus years. And in the real estate, if you can't build it for less, just don't do it. But doing it at a lower cost and having positive impact on the environment makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense for the environment. It's less waste, use less labor, which we're in short supply. You can deliver projects faster, and outcomes are much more predictable. Technology isn't the product. Developer doesn't buy 3D printing. City doesn't buy robotics. Resident doesn't want innovation. They want a home. And so, when we're starting 4.5 years ago, we talked about innovation, in order to get funding, in order to get people excited. But now more and more of our message is we want to deliver a high quality home. If you want to know how we're going to do it, we'll tell you all about it. But the reality is it's delivering the machine, the technology innovation should be invisible. The outcome should speak for itself. Just one example I want to highlight. It's the largest project we completed to date, 62 units. We worked with San Luis Obispo County in the city and a not-for-profit developer called Dignity Moves. So we combined forces, and the challenge was very small site. It was 3/4 of an acre. The budget that they had, the other proposals from even traditional modular construction companies was much more than they could afford. And again, doing kind of the old way, they could only do 34 units at a cost that was exceeding the budget. So not only we innovate in terms of how we build our units, but we also innovate how we're going to attach them. So instead of using traditional foundations, which would have required all kind of retaining walls, a lot of grading, because the lot itself was not, it was under a slope. We propose to use ground screws. Our product is lighter than traditional construction, and so with use of ground screws, we were able to do 62 modules, not 34, of which 54 homes. For housing for the homeless, it's just as important. In addition, I mean, on one hand, you want to take people off the street, right? People need a roof. But it's just as important to provide supportive services, be it drug rehab, alcohol rehab, vocational training, and have a community space, because units themselves are very small. So have a space where people can feel like they live in the community, like all of us are, or majority of us are. So we've been able to deliver a beautiful project. The community that was initially very apprehensive. There was all kind of community meetings and debates of where it's going to go. Community totally embraced it. And during the grand opening on June 10th of this year, we had over 350 people. Every neighbor adopted one of these rooms. So the 62 units, modules that were provided, are decorated like the best hotels. They have, some of them have carpets, some of them have bookshelves with books in them. You could just see that the community embraced it and give it love. And it looks beautiful. I mean, it really is just a beautiful. I have some pictures later on, I'll show you. But technology made delivery possible, but dignity in what made the project meaningful. And it's dignity from the company that developed it, Dignity Moves, from us, and from the neighbors that made this so special. Trust needs to be earned, and I really believe this. It's true in construction. It's true in any product you sell. You know, the developers, the customers need to figure out, will it pencil? The governments want to make sure it's compliant. In San Luis Obispo case, or in Camarillo, where we're having grand opening next Tuesday. On one hand, they want to serve the need that residents have, but they also, you know, the people in building departments are not the most risk takers. They want to make sure it's compliant, it's safe. Communities worry whether the project will fit there, and if it's done in a quality way, they can embrace it. Residents, you know, many people who live on the street end up just so disillusioned that they can't afford anything high quality. So they choose to live on the street, but the reality is just not acceptable. It affects businesses around them. In San Luis Obispo case, this encampment that's going to be moving this community blocked one of the most beautiful hiking trails. So, will I want to live here? It really is, if you can make it attractive with good taste and with love, the answer is yes. And of course, investors who invest in Azure say, is it scalable? Is this just one-off, or there's going to be other projects that you can employ? And you cannot imagine how many, since we finished that project in June, how many RFPs we've been invited to participate, because the word is getting out. And so investors are now getting much more excited about the returns we can generate, because we can replicate this many times. The other thing that what we worked on is really, you know, we didn't want to have a factory to make a home. You know, we want to have a platform that can be very, very flexible. Some of our early customers, and still majority of units we developed last year, was for glamping resorts. When the first customer came and wanted to buy a unit, I'm originally from Ukraine, so I'm still struggling was English. And when he said that he wants it for a glamping resort he owns, I had to put my phone under the conference room table to look up what glamping means. Well, since then, we've delivered dozens and dozens of units to 6 different states, and it just continues. It's the outdoor hospitality is gaining popularity, and our units are perfect for this. Also, Big Beautiful Bill passed last year allows investors terrific write-offs. You can have a 5-to-1 write-off by buying one of our units. We can place it with one of the resorts. We have a number of resorts that are capital strained, so they would love somebody else to produce a unit and have a revenue share. An investor can get in year 1 5-to-1 write-off and then have positive cash flow for the next 5 to 15 years. So great use for our product. Affordable housing, be it single family, or we signed the contract just now, was for 5 apartment buildings, 3-story apartment buildings. So we can now go vertical. ADU, residential, that's kind of where we started the business. ADUs are very popular in California, but now it's spreading all over the country. Now we have 10 states where it's allowed all over the state, and then many places in urban areas where it's allowed just in a local city. And then supportive housing, and what I'm talking about San Luis Obispo. There are 750,000 homeless around the country. LA has 10% of it, 75,000. Huge need. And we're going to have Olympics here in less than 2 years. And encampments that was within a mile of any venue will need to be moved. So do we want to move like 5,500 people to Orange County or to the desert, then only to move them back, spend billions of dollars to do that? That's some of it was done during the World Cup in Seattle, in LA. We spend money just moving people around, and that doesn't accomplish anything. So why not think ahead of time to figure out how to place people in something that'll be a stepping stone towards getting vacation, being able to move into a bigger home. So I claim that the future isn't about 3D printing. It's about whether 3D printing can make possible faster, more affordable, less waste, more dignity. Purpose plus economics plus trust equals scale. And I really believe that building homes is about building trust. So since I wasn't able to use my slides for a presentation yesterday, I'll just spend a few minutes on Azure. So we're raising 5 million Series A and 5 million debt using crowdfunding to build faster and more affordably to expand our platform. What we've accomplished in the last 4 years is developing this agile platform that I talked about, reducing the cost, accelerating the speed, and in the last 18 months, been receiving all kind of third-party validations from Innovator of the Year for National Association of Realtors, one of the 10 most innovative global companies for Fast Company, South by Southwest, which was highly competitive, as you all know, Time Magazine Best Invention of the Year, Cool Innovator Award from Association Devin just talked about, the Crowdfunding Association. It was very cool to attend the last meeting in Washington, D.C. to meet so many professionals in this industry. Pepperdine has one of the most, I'm a Pepperdine alum, so most fundable company, very tough to earn. Really people who are on this call who are startup founders, I really want to encourage you to consider it. I think their deadline for this year is already over, but it brings not only a lot of advice, but also a lot of investors. And then this year, Edison Award we received in Fort Myers, and then of course very proud to be one of the PurposeBuilt100. So just a little bit more on how our system works. You can see this is a large format 3D printing. This platform is our invention. We patented the process and the design. We have 3 of these printers in our LA factory, and we opened the factory in Colorado that has exactly the same replica. It takes us 1 day to print the module. It takes us 4 weeks to finish it. Our goal for the next 12 months is to cut this 4 weeks to 2 weeks so that we can accelerate even the process for finishing the units much faster. Again, that would, right now, every one of our factories can do 25 million, and we have 62 million of pre-orders. So we're kind of totally booked for the rest of this year and next year. But if we can accelerate finishing the units right in the factory, we will accelerate it tremendously. This is just examples on some of the units. I mean, we have a huge market, 36 billion, but unit on the upper left is our first customer, Glamping Resort in Big Sur. unit on the left, I talked about these glamping units. You can see the unit in the upper right is our Welcome Home Village in San Luis Obispo. We made it in under 3 months in the factory, and it took us a week to lift it from the parking lot next door into place. And then the lower right is our first multifamily project that's going to be starting before the end of the year. We've achieved pretty strong economics. We did $7 million of revenue last year, 35% margin. Customer acquisition cost. We do a lot of marketing, but it's very efficient. It's all digital. And as I mentioned, $62 million of backlog. And we're scaling. We already in the first 6 months exceeded our whole of last year production. And we should finish the year around $15 million in revenue. But with 2 factories, we now have enough production capacity to do $50 million next year and $100 million the following year. I use this comparison of Azure to Boxable. Boxable is a company that raised a lot of money in crowdfunding space. They went public last month, and we're very proud of them. I mean, that's incredible achievement. We're 1/12 of their valuation, so we're really, really pleased with that, and just hoping that they have continuous success. And we're going to attempt to go public ourselves in the next 4 to 6 months. So this information from me, it's my direct number, my email. You can scan this QR codes if you want to invest in debt using crowdfunding. Minimum investment $1,000. That's on the left. We have a Reg D for equity. Minimum investment $25,000 just for accredited investors. It's on the right. We're planning to start another CF campaign in July, and just wanted to see whether there are any questions, Devin.
Fantastic. Gene, thank you so much. Great discussion. Great discussion. Really love what you are sharing, because it's, let's be clear, Purpose Built 100 winner, raising from the crowd, environmental impact, social impact out the wazoo. I mean, dude, you got it figured out. And
if I had to figure out one, it would be easier, but it's still.
Yeah, you had to figure out how to build those, so you got patents, right? So, I mean, when you layer on all of these aspects, and you and I have talked a little bit about the fact that there's a publicly traded company that's worth a couple $2 billion market cap that does something not dissimilar to what you are doing,
No,
but it doesn't involve the
$5 billion, and our raise was at $119 million. So I think the key for crowdfunding to continue to be successful is to see more exits like this. And because when there are no comparables, it's very tough to justify valuation. But when there is a comparable, now it should become so much easier. So because one of the reasons we want to go public is I'd like to raise $25 million, and I just don't see doing this. We've raised up to now about $8 million with over 4 years. But if I were to have $25 million, I could expand globally. We have inquiries from all over the globe, from all over the U.S., and now is the time to strike it. So that's kind of where we're looking. And investors who invested 4 years ago, their first campaign, invested $1 a share. Now, our raise was at $7 a share, and the next raise is going to be at 5x that. So I really believe that, we have so many people who invested $1 a share. If they can exit 30 to 50 times a share, that'll get everybody, and it'll get industry excited. So it's a good times,
Yeah, you're doing it right, my friend. Congratulations on the tremendous success you've had. I'm proud that years ago, in the early days, the Impact Cherub Club approved investing in Azure printed homes as one of your first rounds. So it was one of our best deals ever that we ever chose to invest in. So that was, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Gene, thank you so much for being with us today. I hope we'll see you again later. Stick around, but you and your team may want to pop into the executive lounge. Say hi to the folks who are there.
Sure.
Chandon, let me invite you to drop that link into the private chat so Gene can make that transition quickly and easily. I am now going to do something crazy and announce more winners. It's my opportunity now to announce the women founders who are the top 10 women founders on the list. And I want to be a little bit clear about this. There were a lot. It was one of the really surprising aspects of our research when we got done assembling the list. We didn't screen for this. We didn't say, there was no gender qualification at any point in the Purpose Built 100 selection. It didn't bias whether or not we determined you to have impact or not. But we found that there were a lot of women who are running these companies. A lot. There are nearly 30 that are women-led, CEO. And there are more, I think most have a woman on the team. But there are 24 where the founder, a woman, is still running the company. That really, to me, struck me as being a remarkable thing. So we're going to rank the women who are founders and CEOs today, because that is such a remarkable subset. And I really want to celebrate these powerhouse women who are doing the challenging, difficult task of growing real businesses and making them scale. This is kind of a big deal for me, and I hope you appreciate the beauty of this. But I'm going to share the list here, and we'll get started. Okay, so remember, there are 14 other women's founder CEOs who are not in this top 10 list. They are in the Purpose Built 100. We are recognizing them. We have recognized some. We'll recognize more in the coming hours. But these 10 are the fastest growing among the 24, among the 100. So this is, I think, a really important celebration today. So number one is 29 Bison. This is human capital diligence for better deals. So this is a great company, woman-led, 29 Bison. Visit 29bison.com to learn more. My Panda. We were fortunate to have Tamara on the show yesterday. She was part of the programming yesterday, and she was talking about her lessons in the panel discussion among some of the winners. Congratulations. This is really an exciting honor, well-deserved and well-earned. My Panda is an app that connects people to people in their own community who can help them with their chores. And so it's a really handy app to take stress off of women and provide income opportunities for women who are looking to help. So really a cool company. Congratulations to everyone at My Panda. The next one is Mission Enrollment. Fair financial aid for K through 12 schools. And in a few minutes, we're going to get to hear from the CEO. She's here. Alyssa Evans is here, and she'll be sharing with us. So Alyssa, to you and your team, congratulations on being a remarkable standout company among a standout exceptional group of companies, the Purpose Built 100. Congratulations to you. Koji Consultants, number 7 consulting that strengthens local economies, the next step to success. Congratulations to Koji Consultants. Another great one, Momentum Coffee. Coffee shops incubating neighborhood entrepreneurs. This is Momentum Coffee. I love this one. It's exciting to see the kind of social impact that is built into into her DNA. Nikki's an extraordinary leader, and I congratulate her and the whole team at Momentum Coffee. Baby Quip, another one. This is such a challenging thing. If you've ever traveled with a baby, you know that, especially if you want to do air travel, it's really challenging because there's so much gear that you've got to pack. And so Baby Quip addresses this by providing an opportunity for people to rent baby gear at their destination instead of having to pack all the baby gear when they travel. Operates in kind of an Airbnb model. So really an interesting company. We congratulate the team at Baby Quip. Caladrius Therapy. Jesse's team is really, what she's built. She's been on the program. She was participating earlier in the show and SuperCrowd26 here, and what she's building is remarkable. It is entirely impact focused, right? Trying to make sure that they take care of their therapists, trying to make sure that they are taking care of the underserved. Many, if not most, of their clients are Medicaid clients who are getting therapy that they desperately need and others don't want to provide. And they're doing it at a level that's so successful. They just leased a new facility, 9,000 square feet. And, so this is remarkable. They're scaling like they're building and selling software. And what they're doing is old school, in-person, come into the office therapy, but they're doing it right. They put mission first, and what do we see? Rapid scale results. Congratulations to Jesse and the rest of the team there. AquaCycle. We had the founder on the program yesterday. She was talking about, she's one of the best educated CEOs on the program, and here it shows, right? The deep technology they've built, so they literally have a wastewater treatment process that generates electricity, resulting in significant mitigation of the cost of doing wastewater treatment. It really is amazing, exciting technology and scaling rapidly because it kind of harks back to something Gene was just talking about. If your technology is more environmentally friendly but not cheaper, it's not going to scale. But AquaCycle is cheaper and extraordinarily environmentally friendly, and it's the savings on energy and other things that allow it to work so well. So it's scaling very rapidly. Congratulations to the AquaCycle team. Love that. Tampon Tribe. One of my favorite things about Tampon Tribe, the team there, really congratulations to you. Number two. But what the team has done at Tampon Tribe, I think, at least at one point, all the capital they had ever raised came from the crowd, starting with a Kickstarter campaign and then WeFunder campaign after WeFunder campaign, and then they did an SMBX campaign. And, so they have continued to just raise capital from the crowd, and they're just growing like gangbusters, thriving with a very eco-friendly, human-friendly product. These are personal care products for women and plastic-free, organic, good for the planet, and much better for the women who use them. So congratulations to the team at Tampon Tribe. And finally, our number one, fastest growing woman-led, that is founder, CEO, and founder and CEO is Strata Project Management, Amy Johnson. I want to congratulate the team there. They're doing construction advocacy for mission-driven organizations. It's essentially a management consulting firm that serves nonprofits and other mission-driven organizations, and really growing quickly. Just gonzo numbers, success out the wazoo. Amy couldn't be with us today. She's traveling and wasn't able to join us, but I want to extend my heartfelt congratulations to Amy and her team. We're so happy for you. We're grateful for your participation in SuperCrowd26 featuring PurposeBuilt100. Congratulations. Now, I got to figure out what's next. Oh, yeah, it's a busy day for me. I'm okay. So next is Alisa. So we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we will have we'll have a message. We'll be able to hear from Alisa Evans. So stick around.
Raising capital, it's not just
Alyssa, we're going to get you on a little early. Congratulations.
Most deals, they don't fail because of the returns that are offered.
They fail because of compliance mistakes.
And that's what we do.
Every day, we help entrepreneurs raise money the right way.
Before problems ever start. If you're raising capital,
talk to crowdfunding lawyers first.
Digital Niche Agency is the top investor acquisition agency. DNA has helped founders raise over 9 figures via regulated investment crowdfunding with a 3-pronged strategy using digital advertising, content marketing, and strategic outreach. Book a call today.
The CFPA advocates and advances the regulated investment crowdfunding industry. This October, join founders, investors, platforms, and policymakers in Washington, D.C. for the Regulated Investment Crowdfunding Summit. Register now at ricsummit.org.
Behind today's biggest crowdfunding raises.
The leading CPA firm for Reg CF, Reg A, and Reg D compliance.
Trusted.
Experienced.
Set apart.
Eureka! How can I save money on a patent? That's it. Menlo Park Patents.
$50 shareholders can quickly become 5,000. One raise can get you there, and equity stock transfer is built for that scale. Learn more at equitystock.com.
Welcome back. We are so fortunate. We just read the winners of the top 10 women founder and CEO companies, and number 8 was a mission enrollment. And we are so fortunate that we get to hear from Alyssa Evans now. Alyssa, we're thrilled to have you here. Let me just properly introduce you. Our next speaker has spent more than 25 years working to make excellent schools reachable for families who assumed they were out of reach. Alyssa Evans is founder and CEO of Mission Enrollment, a certified B Corporation partnering with more than 140 schools nationwide to deliver fair, transparent financial aid. A frequent national speaker on financial aid trends, she also serves as trustee and treasurer on Please help me welcome Alyssa Evans. Alyssa, we're thrilled to have you.
Thank you. I'm thrilled to be here.
Well, the pleasure is all ours. I'm excited to hear from you. Did you have some slides that you wanted to share?
No, I figured this doesn't need slides. It's just going to be more of a...
fantastic. All the better.
I keep
Take
things
it
simple.
away.
Yeah, too many things going on in life. Keep it simple.
There you go. That's the ticket.
There we go. Well, this is the first time I've ever been introduced earlier than I was going to present, so this is great news. I've never been at a conference where we're actually on time or early, so already I'm excited about this Purpose-Built group already. And thank you again. I'm really excited about being amongst superstar, rock star women that run businesses. It's not an easy challenge to manage children, family, husbands, all the things that happen in our lives. But so again, I'm the founder and CEO of Mission Enrollment. We're a certified B Corporation. This is actually, we just went through our second certification. And I'm a mom navigating the throes of parenting toddlers. Teenagers. They're teenagers now. They feel mostly like toddlers, but it is teenagers. I live in Southern California, but I'm originally from Boston. That will become very clear when I tell you something was wicked good, or that my accent turns from we started Mission Enrollment in 2018 to we started Mission Enrollment in 2018. So anyways, I'm grateful to be with people who share a commitment to serving humanity in so many different realms, different ways. If I do my job here today, I hope you leave encouraged by a simple truth. Failures, large and small, can move us forward as long as our way and our why remains our North Star. If my voice sounds a little scratchy, my face looks a little scorched, here's why. So last night, I was at a back-to-school night at my children's school. I live in Southern California, so it was 114 degrees in the shade. At 5 o'clock in the evening, as the president of a nonprofit, the nonprofit arm of the kids' school, we were fundraising for athletics last night. Okay, sounds easy. So I had spent about 30 or 40 hours creating QR codes, flyers, postcards, why you should give, what it's going to serve. I updated the website. I made a back to school night flyer, all the things. I made an epic trip to Costco for 40 pizzas. Do you know what 40 pizzas looks like in a minivan? It's bananas. My family had been voluntold, my new favorite word, and we raised a whopping $1,000. That sounded great to some people until I asked whether I led with impact. Alyssa, you know better, you know better. If I had used those 30, 40, 50 hours writing grants, seeking jersey sponsorship from the local community, and doing what I do best, which is inspire people to give money, we might have raised 3 or 4 times that amount without exhausting my family. That's the why was right. I wanted to fill the real funding gap. The method was not. We learn, we relearn these lessons every single day. So that just happened last night. So again, I apologize. I am a little out of sorts because I'm still recovering from that epic journey. So that's why I want to talk to you about 2 companies. And that was sort of the premise of my original presentation. But I thought, as a mom and as those that also deal with all the craziness of being a mom, many of you can relate to that, sort of making these crazy decisions. But I did have 2 companies. The company that I lost taught me what happens when fear. I kind of basically started the company out of fear. I had lost my job in student loans after some regulation changes, and I figured I needed to do something quickly, immediately, just to get money in the door. So I ran it from fear, motion, just racing forward. I was attracted by every opportunity, and it rewrote the reason why I even thought of this idea of a company. And that company was called West Coast Whoopies. It was a whoopie pie company. And then Mission Enrollment is sort of the other one, was built from, which is the one we're talking about today, was built from a different place. Almost exactly 10 years later. Not certainty, but clarity. What about the why we exist, whom we serve, and what we will not become? This is what failure taught me, was to protect purpose, focus, and the tiny humans at the center of every decision I have to make. So years ago, I started a company called West Coast Whoopies. For those of you that are not from New England, or pretty much Boston, New England specifically, whoopie pies are like 2 tops of cupcake squished together with frosting on the inside. They are not known outside of my little universe of New England. So the name tells you obviously the idea, whoopie pies on the West Coast. It was joyful, it was fun, it was the panicked thing I did after I lost a 10-year career in higher ed student loans. So we wanted to do one thing exceptionally well, which was make whoopie pies. My tagline was even, add a bite of whoopie to your day, which I thought was fabulous. But if I'm being honest, I did not begin from the strongest place. I began in this season of fear and uncertainty, and that fear is a terrible strategist because fear is always looking for proof that you're going to be okay. So when someone said, you know what else you should sell? I listened. When someone wanted a custom cake, I said, sure, we should do those, right? Does anybody know how to make a cake? To be clear, I also am not a baker beyond the Christmas Eve baking whoopie pies thing. So I was good at marketing, I was good at this great idea, but I was not a baker by trade. So, want to do wholesale? Sure, I can figure out how to do wholesale. Want to do retail? Sounds fabulous. Each request sounded reasonable, each sale felt like validation, each new idea looked like an opportunity I could not afford to refuse. There was no single dramatic moment when the business lost its way. It happened one reasonable yes at a time for me. That's the dangerous thing about drift. Drift rarely introduces itself as drift. It arrives dressed as growth. It sounds like a customer request, it looked like revenue to me, and it feels like I'm being helpful. Before long, I was no longer running the company I had set out to build. We were making custom cakes and wedding cakes. We were operating wholesale and retail. We had different products, different customers, different work roles, and different promises. We were doing almost everything except the one thing I had intended to do. Eventually, I had to close the company. After the 2008 crash was when we had this business. And there's no tidy entrepreneurial language that makes it painless. Closing a business means facing employees, customers, vendors, money, identity, the private story that I've been telling myself about success. It's grief with paperwork. I later wrote a book about the experience called Rolling in Dough, or So I Thought, The Death of a Small Business. I wrote it because I needed to understand how a company with good products, good people, and plenty of activity could still lose its center. And I saw that when I went after we lost our company, there were all these books about how to start a company, including an idiot's guide, which is unbelievably ridiculous to think. And there was nothing there to help me deal with when failure happened. And when so many companies fail, how surely could there be no books about how to deal with the loss of a business, a death in fact. So the answer was not that we had failed to change. We had changed constantly. The answer was that we were adapting without a center. And when the center is missing in any one of your businesses, growth becomes drift. So what failure taught me is the most important lesson was not inspirational, it was operational. Your why has to be strong enough to tell you what not to do. We often talk about purpose as though it belongs on a wall, but purpose is not a poetic version of your business. Purpose is a decision-making tool. It should help you choose what to build, whom to hire, what customers you're going to serve, and what opportunities you're going to say no thank you to. A clear why gives us permission to disappoint an opportunity before the opportunity disappoints our company. I've had way too many of those over the years that I deeply wanted to support somebody because I felt strongly that we could do good work, but we can't do it everywhere. I also learned that focus is not a single decision you make at the beginning. You make it again every single day as a CEO, as 1,000 things are coming at you. As I was closing the bakery, it was Christmas. I was devastated. I was closing and locking the door of the bakery for the last time. And my dad came and gave me the best advice I've kind of used going forward, not just in running mission enrollment, but just from a parent's perspective. And as I look at things, focus, focus, focus. I lost this focus. I wanted to do everything for everybody, but I didn't have that center. And so that sort of has become the theme as we've gone on. Because distraction never stops us from being creative. Someone will always have with the next, I have a great idea. And sometimes it's really a great idea. It's not just the idea for your company. I often encourage people that come with me with great ideas, like, that sounds like a great idea. You should start a company and put your money into this. So when I founded Mission Enrollment in 2018, I was determined to begin from a different mindset. This time I knew the problem I wanted to spend my life helping to solve. Financial aid in the independent K-12 world sits at a difficult intersection, especially right now, but even in 2018. Access, affordability, families are having all sorts of things happening. Housing, clothing, food, insurance, everything is expensive. And how do you prioritize where you can spend your money and what you have left over? And what is left over, can I afford to spend that on, K-12 education when I also have college to think about? So families are trying to make this decision. Schools, on the other side, are trying to live their mission of serving the students they want to serve with access. And they need to remain financially sustainable. You can't just have a full school with half-pay families. You will not remain sustainable. The school will go out of business. You will have served no one by doing that. And the people making these decisions are often carrying crazy workloads. All of you that have children, if you've gone into your kids' school, it is absolute craziness. The head of school is also like scooping things out of the trash. We have the teachers doing parking lot duty. For those of you that have gone through the carpool lane, you know what that craziness is like. And so everybody's doing 8,000 other jobs in addition to their job as maybe the CFO of the school, the admissions director, all these other jobs. And so their ability to sit down and look at financial aid files is almost impossible. So schools would say to me, Alyssa, this is great. We're going to deep dive into business taxes so nobody looks one way and they've got 18 businesses and 25 rental properties. And we realize that it doesn't show that it says they made a negative $5,000. How did they make negative $5,000? And they paid their mortgage and all the things. And I say, I can figure this out for you. We're going to get the K1s and the 1065s and all these corporate taxes. And the school person's like, right, so I have to teach a class right now, so can you do this for me? And I would say, yeah, of course I can. So this is how mission enrollment can be. There was a clear problem that I know we could solve in a way that would serve everybody well. So we became to be from a belief that this process could be more equitable, more consistent, efficient, and grounded in the realities of modern families. We can't just protect $10,000 a year for housing, clothing, food, insurance, because the realities that families are experiencing are about $100,000, depending on where you are in the country, that just to do the day-to-day, everyday living. So we wanted to make sure that even the algorithms that were coming out for these schools were curated and for the areas that they live of, New York, LA, Hawaii. So I really understand this work. I cared about the people inside it, and unlike my first venture, I was not asking the business to rescue me from uncertainty. I was asking the business to serve the purpose I could name, even on a difficult day. Our why is in the plainest possible language is to help schools make fair and sustainable financial aid decisions while never forgetting the tiny humans at the center. One tiny human at a time. Everybody at my company, and including my COO, Anita Harper, who I love dearly, has a tattoo of tiny humans. That phrase matters to me because it prevents scale from becoming abstract. An application is just not a stack of documents. It's a family trying to reconcile hope with a financial reality. On the other side is the school trying to balance access, mission, and long-term health. The calculation is never only a calculation. So back to focus, focus, focus. At Mission Enrollment, focus means staying in a very narrow financial aid lane. We know what we are here to do. That does not mean we never change. It means every change must serve the same purpose. So when someone brings up a great idea, and people bring them to us all the time, we ask 3 questions. And my staff hate this because then they're like, oh, okay, give me a minute, I'll come back. Does it serve the tiny humans? And insert your, does it serve this part of the, ecological system? Does it serve low-income families? Whatever it is that is who you serve. Does it serve the tiny humans? Will it make the experience for us, will it make the experience clearer, fairer, and more humane for the families behind the files? Second question, does it help the school remain financially sustainable? Compassion without sustainability is not really a lasting solution, and schools have to make decisions that they can stand behind this year, but not just this year, but every year thereafter. These kids stay at the school for 12 to 14 years. Third question, does it belong in financial aid? Remember, that's my narrow lane, so insert your lane. Not adjacent to our expertise, not potentially profitable, not something we could technically learn to do, which we could. Does it belong in the lane that we have chosen? If the answer is no to any of those, it's a great idea, but it's not for mission enrollment. And I have really pissed off a lot of my staff over the years by really sticking to this narrow focus because we don't want to lose that. This filter influences who we hire, how we support our families, what capabilities we build. AI is the conversation everybody's having about everything right now. What is safe to move into an AI space? What is not safe to move into an AI space? We're having lots of those same conversations. I'm sure you guys are experiencing at your businesses. But it lets the team move faster because they're not having to reinvent their identity every time I come up with a new idea or somebody comes up with a new idea. So really, what West Coast Whoopies taught me that saying yes can feel like growth even when it's fragmentation. Mission enrollment has taught me that a disciplined no can create the space for a more meaningful yes. And there's freedom in that. We don't have to be the answer to every problem. Those of us that are drawn to the nonprofit space, and I've spent most of my adult life working in nonprofits, mission-driven work, we want to help everyone all the time, including at a 114-degree pizza night. But we can be exceptionally useful only when we protect the problem we are uniquely equipped to solve. Focus is not rigidity, right? So rigidity refuses change. Focus changes whatever is necessary to keep serving the why. I'm going to drive this why thing down everybody's throat, but I apologize. I think it's really important. The financial aid landscape has changed. I'm sure, like for our company, platforms have multiplied, family structures and financial realities have changed. Everybody's more complex. The tax code is more complex. When these systems were built 50 years ago, kind of modeled on the FAFSA, they were meant to serve access for low-income families. Now, we are serving mostly middle-income families that are considering independent education, and they also cannot afford us. We see families making $50,000 a year and $500,000 a year, and they're very much both feeling like they're living paycheck to paycheck. There is not a lot of a net for them to fall to if any sort of crisis happens. We saw so much of that during COVID. We saw more of it during the fires here in Los Angeles. You lose that big asset of your home to a fire and insurance is not covering it, you are immediately in a very crisis situation. So schools need strong policies, they need communication, they need consistent review, and they need experienced people who can help them make these difficult decisions. That's what our company does. We could have chased the software opportunity. I had an algorithm to kind of make the application easier and more, I would say, equitable to the middle income and low and middle income. But that would become a software company. And we could have become an enrollment consultancy firm and just try to help schools bring in more families. Instead, we chose to remain sort of that people-first, platform-agnostic financial aid partner for schools. So we can work at any of the systems. We learned all of them. That way we could work with every school that needs us, no matter what system they're using. That choice gave us room to adapt the delivery without changing our purpose. We built expertise, we strengthen our policies, we guide families, we train teams, we support schools through realities. The form of the work can evolve because the center is holding steady at all times. That's the balance I missed the first time around. Do not protect your original method so tightly that you stop responding to the world, but protect the purpose and let that method grow up around you. Today, mission enrollment partners, like Devin said, with about 140, we're going to probably be about 200 schools here at the next academic year across the country. Last year, we processed just over 22,000 financial aid applications across 5 different platforms. Our partner schools save about between $80,000 and $100,000 and essentially over-rewarding. So we find those people that are doing a great job of hiding their money or have awesome accountants that help them to take advantage of the tax code. I wouldn't say they're hiding their money. They just have the same goal as everybody. I want to pay the fewest amount of taxes. But I could reverse engineer all that stuff. So we try to save schools money so that they can allocate it to the families that need it. We sort of jokingly say we're the Robin Hoods of financial aid. We're stealing from the rich and giving to the middle. That's kind of been our goal all along. And making sure that we're serving everybody in between. So more capacity, the growth is great. We've grown, like I said, we're part of this Purpose-Built 100. Growth is fantastic, but it's been very organized growth because I did not ever want to lose the expertise. It is deeply, there's a lot of that has to happen in reviewing files. I have to have people in our team go through a 3-year training program in tax law and all these things to be able to review these files. So I was not really a sustainable business in any meaningful way. Our growth had to be slowly organized over time. We've kind of looked at all of that stuff and we've gotten better at saying, no, we can grow. We need to be able to use these solutions. So growth is capacity. The real question is what you do with it. So we were able to kind of find a way to grow and still not lose that quality over quantity and people over profits. That has always sort of been our little tagline internally. But more capacity for us means that we can help school leaders make more difficult decisions. It means an enrollment professional can do 8 more interviews of very capable kiddos, and they have more time for judgment and strategy. And it means that the parents can receive a clearer answer from someone who understands the anxieties behind the questions. And it means more children get a chance to walk into a school where they can be known, challenged, and changed. When we review a file, we may never see the kid. We may never see the first day of school, the friendships that changed them, the teachers who recognized their gifts, or the moment that began to imagine a different future. We're not curing cancer, but one of the children reached through financial aid may grow up to do exactly that. Access to education matters deeply, and the tiny humans is why the quality of the decision matters. This is the flywheel that we all believe in. A clear why creates focus. Focus improves the quality and consistency of our decisions. The better decisions we create, the better impact the schools have for their families. Impact builds our trust, and the trust creates the responsible growth that we want to bring to the community. And growth gives us the capacity to support more schools and really, frankly, more families, one tiny human at a time. I wanted to, let me just check my time here. I want to make sure I'm not, although now I'm early, so I guess I have a little bit of extra time. I want to leave you guys with 3 questions that, other than the questions of when your staff come in and saying, we want to do this thing. This is really for the founders and the CEOs that just say, I'm getting, there's a million different things coming and happening at once. And again, I am getting into my husband and I call it the back 9 of my life. So my wisdom has grown. You all are successful businesses, but if you're early founders and early business owners, these were the 3 things that I felt like would be useful and helpful as you start to grow your companies or continue to grow your companies. What did failure teach you that success couldn't? To me, the loss of that business was horrible for us. We lost everything with the Whoopie Pie business. But there was so much we learned because of that. Which attractive opportunity is pulling you currently away from the work that only your organization should do and can do? And last, if you succeed, if the growth comes, if the plan works, if the numbers move, who is tangibly better served? The purpose of those questions is not to create another mission statement. It's not to give you, the next great thing. Because a company relies, on its purpose all at once. It loses it in the calendar invitations you should have declined. The services you agreed to build for one customer. We have done that so many times. Well, this one guy needs this thing. We can do it. And I will always say, well, I have time, but I have time. You don't have time. And the events that left you burnt out. The family my family, which is now less willing to be voluntold the next time I need them. Your why must be alive enough to enter those moments with you. It must help you to choose before choices become a crisis. So again, I started with 2 companies, Mission Enrollment and West Coast Whoopies. Whoopies taught me what happens with fear and opportunity pulls the business away from its center. Mission Enrollment has succeeded not because we refuse to change, but because we adapt without abandoning our lane. We know why we exist. We use that why to focus, and we measure growth by the capacity it gives us to serve humanity well. Know your why, protect it with focus, let growth serve the purpose, and never lose sight of the tiny humans that are in front of you. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate your time and listening.
Thank you so much. That was really just fantastic. I really appreciate what you've shared. You said something, though, that I'm really intrigued by, and I wonder if we could just take a minute to follow up on this, because you said, and I don't mean to pry, I think there's an important lesson here. You said that you sometimes piss off your staff or your team because they want to expand in a direction or do a thing that you think isn't mission aligned. I wonder if you can give us an example. And I know that's maybe a little bit personal, but that an example will help us understand your decision process. And obviously our situations are different, but we'll still learn a lesson. So can you think of one example of something that someone wanted you to do and you'd said, nope, not going there?
First, like from today or somewhere in the future? This happens every day, right? But no, I have a great example. And honestly, if anybody wants to chat with me, has questions about starting a business, closing a business, the fact that I wrote a book about the death of a business, I am very open about this public failure that I have, which most people don't really want to be very open about. But I think it helps humanity kind of know you're not alone. So a really good example is very relevant to what's happening right now in the United States. So there is a federal tax credit that you can utilize to send your child to private school. And it's not directly called a grant, it's just sort of a tax kind of one-to-one in the big, beautiful bill. And states have to opt in to utilize it. And so, right now it's kind of mostly Republican-led states. The governor has to choose. It's going into effect in January that the schools have to work with these what's called state grant organizations. All the stuff you don't really need to know about, other than to say, processing these, anything you start dealing with the government, things get complicated. Rules are very loosey-goosey. Details are not clear. Websites crash on the day you open them. We had my team said, hey, we do financial aid. We know how to process files, and we do 20,000 of them. Surely we could help one of these state grant organizations do the data verification and the reporting and all the things. I was like, that's an awesome idea. We are definitely not doing that. Even though it is financial aid-ish adjacent, it is not really where we manage and where we're best suited. And frankly, I felt like there's a lot more risk in working with the federal government because it's not clearly defined. Nobody really knows what this is going to look like. And I don't have time to do that. I would rather serve the people we already know how to serve well. So that would be an example where it was an awesome idea. I mean, we are probably the only group poised to know all the answers to solve this problem for schools that are going to have to do all this reporting. And do you realize what you're getting into? But it's not for us right now. Let's see how this thing plays out. And then if schools need our help working around it, absolutely, we'll help them identify and support and adjacently support it in collaboration with their financial aid portfolio. But yeah, that was a just last week example of great idea. Yeah. They gave me a whole PowerPoint pitch. Oh yeah, the whole thing. But no, it's not. It's just not for us right now.
I really appreciate you sharing that, because that is a constant entrepreneur battle, right? Deciding what's an opportunity and what's a distraction.
Yeah.
There may not be a better example of a challenge that an entrepreneur faces. So I really appreciate you sharing your personal experience. Alyssa, I saw you were in the networking room, the Executive Access Zoom earlier. I encourage you to pop back in and say hi to the folks who are there now. They even better appreciate what a big deal you are, that you are number 8 on the top 10 and a PurposeBuilt 100 winner. So congratulations to you. Thank you for being here. Folks, if you are watching, if you are a speaker, sponsor, ticket holder, pop in and visit with Alyssa in the Executive Lounge. It's the same link all 3 days, so if you have the link from yesterday, use it. It'll pop you right in. And then we'll have a networking session for everyone, Alyssa included, this evening at 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific. We'll kind of wrap up the time together and celebrate together the PurposeBuilt 100. Alyssa, thank you so much. We'll look forward to seeing you there tonight.
You guys. Thank you so much.
All righty. Take care, everybody. It is now my pleasure and privilege to introduce our next speaker, someone I've known for a decade now. Our next guest, in her own words, a fierce advocate for social enterprises, and 15 years of work backs that up. Pamela Roussos is CEO and co-founder of Weaving Impact, whose mission is reducing the racial wealth gap in cities across the United States by helping local entrepreneurs build enterprises that solve problems in their own neighborhoods. Before this, she spent 9 years at the Miller Center for Social Entrepreneurship, where I connected with her. Following a full career in technology, please welcome Pamela Roussos. Pamela, thank you so much for being here. We're just thrilled to have you.
Thanks, Devin. Thanks for having me. I wish we were in 3D and not 2D, but here we are.
Yeah. Another day. We're hoping to make Purpose Built 100 an in-person event one day, so I'm hopeful that you can join us when we do that.
Yes, thank you.
That'll be great.
Good. Well, thank you, and congratulations to all the Purpose Built 100 entrepreneurs. It's amazing, awesome, and shout out to the top 10 women-led businesses, and a special shout out to Momentum Coffee, who is in my hometown of Chicago. So, and before I get started, I wanted to just share, it's the middle of the summer and I have a cold, so if I sniffle in your ear, I apologize in advance. So good afternoon and good day, everyone. So I want to start with a question that I'd like you to sit with for a second. Who gets to decide what a neighborhood is worth? Not what it costs, what it's worth. So I have the privilege of walking and driving around the Black Butterfly neighborhoods in Baltimore, the south and west sides of Chicago, and parts of Gaithersburg, Maryland, where most people don't go unless they live there. When many people go to these places, they see vacant lots, dilapidated buildings, and signs of poverty. When I go there, I see opportunity because I believe there are innovators on every street corner. As Devin said, for almost 15 years now, I've spent my career on both sides of a particular line. Inside rooms where capital is allocated, and inside storefronts and kitchens and community centers where that capital either shows up or doesn't. I've worked alongside more than 1,000 social entrepreneurs from Kenya to the Himalayas at Miller Center for Global Impact. And for the last several years, I've been focused on bringing that same model home to the US, to Baltimore, to Chicago, to Gaithersburg, through the work that we do at Weaving Impact. Today, I want to share 4 things this work has taught me. Not theories, things that I've seen happen in real neighborhoods with real people, some of whom I will talk about today. But here's the truth about impact investing. It's not really about the money. The money is just a vehicle. What we're actually talking about is trust, who we extend it to, on what terms, and what we're willing to risk to prove it's warranted. So let's get into it. The first thing this work has taught me, and it should be obvious, but still isn't, the people closest to the problem are the ones best positioned to solve it. Not the funders, not the consultants flying around with their fancy frameworks, the people who live there. This isn't just a nice sentiment that we put on a slide. It is the operating principle of everything that Weaving Impact does. Our value of inclusion says it plainly. Entrepreneurial community leaders are the experts in identifying and solving local problems and opportunities. We give them the tools they need to succeed, not the answers, the tools. Let me share about how this actually got started. Back in 2016, a social entrepreneur by the name of Frank Knott approached Miller Center, where I was working at the time, with a question. Could a model that had spent decades supporting social entrepreneurs globally, Kenya, Myanmar, Mexico, actually work in an American city with one of the highest racial wealth gaps? Not exported, not imposed, but adapted by the people who know Baltimore best, the people who live there. That question became Innovation Works. Innovation Works became the proof point, and that proof point became Weaving Impact. So we built this to use that same premise to go from city to city to city, Baltimore, then Chicago, and now Gaithersburg as well, with the goal of reaching 20 cities by 2033. I look at the businesses supported in Baltimore, Chicago, and in Gaithersburg, and there are themes. A number of the businesses are focused on health and wellness. Black and brown communities are plagued with high rates of diabetes, high blood pressure, hypertension. There are many factors that cause this, but one is the lack of healthy food in these neighborhoods. Many of them are food deserts. They have no grocery stores, just liquor stores selling snack foods like Doritos and potato chips. So entrepreneurs are creating healthy options. The science also tells us that regular exercise helps as well. So entrepreneurs are focused there too. As you can imagine, affordable housing is solved in a myriad of ways, and then you have businesses creating jobs. Like Claudia here in Chicago. She runs a commercial cleaning and catering business. Why? Because she looked around her and saw women like her, empty nesters full of talent and skills, but no opportunities. So she decided she would create the opportunity and started her company and hiring her friends and neighbors. People inside the communities creating solutions to the challenges that are within their communities. So here's the aha moment I want to leave with you with this first story. Impact investing doesn't start with capital. It starts with humility. The first job of an investor, of anyone in this room, isn't to bring a solution. It's to ask better questions. And then have the discipline to actually listen to the answers. I'm going to repeat that. Have the discipline to actually listen to the answers. The second thing I've learned is about scale. And it might surprise you because the instincts are go chase the highest numbers. But I want to tell you about 3 organizations that came through Miller Center's accelerator because their numbers tell a story about what happens when capital is patient and paired with real accompaniment rather than just a transaction. The first is someone somewhere working in rural indigenous communities with artisans that are preserving generations-old weaving and textile techniques. And they were disappearing and at risk of disappearing. But with the right capital and mentorship, those artisans didn't just survive. Their incomes have increased by 300%. 300 artisans tripling their income while creating 130,000 miles of fabric made from recycled thread. The second organization is Livelihoods, now known as Solar Sister Kenya. It started in one slum, Kangangwari, in Nairobi. Solar Sister Kenya trains women and youth to sell solar lights and clean cook stoves in their neighborhoods. It took a couple of years for the work to get really solidified. And so they were thinking about going and they were being asked to be expanding their work, but they knew that they needed to first make sure that the model worked well so that they could grow on it completely. And it would be, not a rickety foundation. It would be a strong foundation. They now have expanded across Kenya and have trained just under 2,000 women and youth and positively impacted the lives of over 500,000 people. The third organization is ONOW, working with migrant women across Southeast Asia, a region where a third of the population is under 25, and where rural and migrant communities face real barriers to economic participation. ONOW has equipped over 10,000 women with business skills and unlocked $500,000 of capital for entrepreneurs that would have never had access to that before. So 300 artisans, over 500,000 people positively impacted with solar lights and clean cook stoves, over 12,000 women with business skills. None of these numbers started with checks with head-grabbing headlines and such. They started with modest, patient capital and mentorship and years of accompaniment invested in leaders who already knew exactly what their communities needed. Here's the aha moment. The size of the check is not the size of the impact. What multiplies impact isn't the number of zeros on the check. It's whether that capital is paired with real relationship, real mentorship, and patience to get a local leader to build something that lasts. At Weaving Impact, we call this accompaniment, walking alongside. The third thing that this work has taught me is sometimes the hardest one to sit with because it challenges something a lot of well-intentioned economic development work gets wrong. Creating jobs in a struggling neighborhood is good, but it's not the same as closing the wealth gap. A job gives someone income for as long as they hold it. Ownership gives someone an asset that can appreciate, that they can be passed down, and that can be borrowed against to create the next big thing. This is the distinction of Weaving Impact's mission. We exist to empower entrepreneurs to build, grow, and sustain social enterprises that generate wealth, not income, and create lasting economic prosperity in Black and Brown communities. Our vision statement is a United States where every predominantly Black, Latino, Asian, and indigenous neighborhood is economically prosperous, not economically employed. Prosperous. That distinction matters because the racial wealth gap in this country wasn't created by a lack of jobs. It was created over years by systemically blocking access to ownership, to land, to homes, to businesses, to capital. You cannot fix generations of blocked ownership with a paycheck. You fix it by helping people build things they own. I'm thinking of Josh here in Chicago. When he came to us, he had a day job as a teacher in the Chicago public school system. And on the side, he was making very yummy, healthy Puerto Rican ice cream. With the support of program staff and his mentors, he grew his ice cream business. And more importantly, he grew his confidence in understanding how to run a business. So much so that he stopped working as a teacher, is now working full-time on his business. Josh is hiring people and is building an asset that he can pass down while contributing to helping his neighbors stay healthy. So here's the aha moment. If you want to measure whether impact investing is really working, don't just ask how many jobs did it create. Ask who owns something now that they didn't before. That's the number that compounds. That's the number that gets passed down to the next generation. And the last thing I want to leave you with is the shape of this work, because I think a lot of people in the field with the best of intentions still picture themselves as the hero of the story, the funder who swoops in, the rescue that happens, but that's not what works. What works is a weave. Looking at the values of Weaving Impact was built on accompaniment, which we already talked about, walking alongside local partners, entrepreneurs, mentors, contributing time, talent, treasure, and lived experiences together. Dignity, where every person deserves to be respected, seen, and heard. And belief in others, no matter someone's circumstance, they have leadership potential, and our job is to equip it, not supply it. None of those values describe a rescue. They describe a relationship, one where local partners, local businesses, local mentors, and a broader network all come together, pull in the same direction, community by community, learning from each other. This is also why I believe this in this room specifically. You're not just investors. Many of you are ecosystem players, your mentors, your connectors, people who make introductions and open doors that no check alone can open. Between Miller Center, Innovation Works, and Weaving Impact's partners, there's more than 650 executive mentors precisely because capital without mentorship doesn't achieve the results that we're all looking for. I'm thinking of Bree Jones, a social entrepreneur doing affordable home ownership in Baltimore, and her mentor, Jim. Bree is solving a real problem in Baltimore, and at the beginning she was having a really hard time getting through the city's red tape. Jim at the time was a recently retired city administrator, So within a couple of phone calls that Jim made to his former colleagues, he was able to pave the way for Bree to get going. So here's the last aha moment. You don't have to be the whole solution. You just have to be one honest, reliable thread in someone else's weave. That's a much smaller ask than being a hero, and it's the only version of this work that actually scales. So 4 things. I can count 4 things. Impact investing starts with humility, not solutions. The size of the ripple isn't the size of the check. Jobs are not the same as wealth. Chase ownership. And none of us have to be a hero. We just have to be a good thread. I'll leave you with this. Every neighborhood in this country already has what it needs to be prosperous. People who understand the problem, who are already building the solutions, and who can benefit significantly from the people who extend trust and resources that let them finish the job. That's not a metaphor. That's the actual literal work in front of all of us in this room today. So here's what I'm asking. The next time you decide where a dollar goes, or who gets a seat at your table, or whose plan gets the benefit of the doubt, ask my opening question again. Who gets to decide what the neighborhood is worth? And make sure that your answer includes the people who already live there. Thank you.
Wow. So much deep information. I love what you're doing, Pamela. I'm feeling guilty for not having partnered with you more effectively before today, and I really hope we can explore some opportunities for better collaboration going forward, because your mission to focus on community ownership aligns perfectly with our mission, and our focus and skill around crowdfunding. It just aligns perfectly. In fact, we'll have a panel discussion this afternoon very much focused on exactly this topic. I hope you'll tune into that, because we'll be talking about how crowdfunding is a tool in your work. So you'll find that interesting. But
great.
Pamela, I want to go back. I want to get personal for just a minute. If you have roots in an urban environment personally, it isn't apparent from your complexion, right? So you may, but your tech roots in Silicon Valley don't sound like that experience. And I get that you spent time with the Miller Center, an amazing organization. So glad that I've had some opportunities to connect with those folks. Great human beings doing inspiring work. But it is sort of easy to see the work of helping, rich people in the United States, helping people in low-income countries, their challenges and their problems. And I recognize that you made this academic leap to try this here in the United States, but I'm curious about the motivation. What was it that got you up in the morning one day and said, I need to do this in Baltimore and Chicago, not just Kenya, Nairobi and in Uganda? What was it?
Yeah, happy to share that, and then also talk to another point that you made earlier. So my motivation. So as I worked at Miller Center. I love working at Miller Center. I love working with the entrepreneurs. And I was flying around. I was on the African continent 4 or 5 times a year, India, Southeast Asia, all the places. And then I would come home to my own. At the time I was living in San Francisco. I'd come home and see all the problems in my own backyard. And I was just like, why? I mean, I love going to all those places. I love travel. I love different cultures, but I could be helping my neighbors. And so that kind of got me started to think about this. And then, as I mentioned, Frank Knott came to us to see whether or not the model could be replicated in Baltimore for Baltimore. And so I went on that journey still at Miller Center with him to see if that could be done. And we knew that if it was successful in Baltimore, that Baltimore is not the only city with a racial wealth gap. And so that was what kind of prompted the founding of Weaving Impact, which is, basically that allows, we're partnered with both Innovation Works and Miller Center, and it allows them to stay focused on their missions, as Alyssa was talking about, their whys, and so Weaving Impact, we're expanding the model. That's our mandate is expansion. But another thing that you also mentioned is like, okay, yeah, Pamela, but you don't look like you're coming from these neighborhoods. So, basically, I'll put these words in your mouth. What gives you permission to go into these communities?
Well, I didn't mean that, but
I know. I said I put those words in your mouth. I was
curious about the motivation because it's. But anyway, go ahead.
Well,
go ahead.
But so that was the motivation, and I mean, I'm not from these communities, and so the way that we work actually is that we find a partner in those communities that's trusted by those communities, that are doing work in those communities, and then see the value of adding entrepreneurship to services that they're already doing. So here in Chicago, for instance, we're partnered with a organization that's working in the Latino communities on the west side of Chicago, and they're called New Life Centers. They've been working in these communities for over 20 years, and so they do after-school youth programming. They do a lot of violence intervention work, food distribution, and then I started talking about entrepreneurship, and they're like, we're being asked every day by people in the community, help me think about my business. How do I start my business? How do I grow my business? And they're like, I don't know how to do that. So that's what we do, is we basically train and teach them the model, and it gets adapted. What is happening in Baltimore looks different than what's happening here in Chicago, and it looks different in Gaithersburg as well, because that's what we need to do, is be able to answer to the community and what's needed by those communities.
Well, I couldn't agree more that it is vitally important, and your work and our work align so beautifully. I hope we can find more opportunities for collaboration, because it is vitally important. And I can't count the dozens of investments I've made in businesses in communities that are doing exactly the kind of work you love. And so we got to find more time to chat, collaborate, work together. But
come to Chicago.
Pamela, yeah, that's right. I need to come to Chicago. I almost did. The panel presentation we're doing this afternoon on this topic, we actually put this together for SoCap Open. And
okay.
we made it to the finals, and then didn't make the final cut. So
sorry.
I'm not making the trip, but I was going to be there. I was that close. In any case, Pamela, thank you so much for being with us. I would encourage you to pop into the Zoom chat for a minute. I know Alyssa is still there, along with several other people. They would love to get you. If you click on that private chat there in the studio, you'll see that. And I want to encourage everyone. There are many of you who are watching who have access and haven't popped in. I encourage you to do that. Pop in to chat with Pamela and the team there in the executive lounge. So if you're a speaker, sponsor, if you bought an executive access ticket, or you claimed one because you're an impact member of the SuperCrowd, and get one for free. I mean, there are 250 people with tickets. We invite you to pop in there. If you're busy now, plan to join us for the networking session at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. tonight. If you don't have your executive access ticket, buy one. You can join the SuperCrowd and become an impact member for $55 and instantly get free access to the executive lounge and get an executive ticket. So we hope you'll do that. With that, let me say we're going to profile more of our Purpose-Built 100 winners. Over the last 2 days, we've profiled the first 2/3. We're going to profile the third in alphabetical order in this hour long. And when we come back, we'll be doing more rankings. We'll have the environmental solutions top 10 and the overall winners. We'll go through the next 50 over the next few hours. Oh my gosh, it's going to be so exciting. So stick around. You don't want to miss a minute.
It starts with a question, a better way. Something worth building, something worth changing. A spark becomes motion, a few become more. You take what you believe in and open the door. One step, one voice, one reason to begin. When purpose finds momentum, that's when possibility kicks in. We're built for more than a moment, more than before. Built with a reason, built to endure. We grow what matters, we open the door. Built on purpose, we're built for more. Oh yeah, turn waste into value, turn barriers around, put power in places where hope can be found. Bring capital closer, bring new voices through, make room at the table for something new. One dream, one chance, then somebody believes. And when we build together, there's more that we can achieve. We're built for more than a moment, more than before. Built with a
Don't be
reason,
afraid to speak.
built